Hello everyone, welcome, welcome to the stream. Hope you're all having a wonderful time. I feel like I just found this thing. Is it like this? No, surely not. No, fuck it. Good day, thank you. Yes, Monday was good. Love a cheeky Monday. I actually do quite like Mondays. It's exciting. Opportunity. A week brimming with possibilities. Yeah, quite like Mondays. Yeah, why not? I'm excited about painting this model. My diorama looks pretty good, which you'll hopefully get to see very soon. It's just a wonderful time. Daylight savings has ended, so we all get to be back to normal together. It's funny because my head office is based in Melbourne. Um, the the daylight savings is always a blessing and a curse for me. It's a blessing because all of my meetings finish an hour earlier, so my day sort of finishes early. But by the same token, all my meetings start earlier. So, blessing and curse. A lot of good detail on this model. Yes, me too, mate. Me too. Start early, finish early. Definitely preferred. Call you when I need you. My heart's on fire. Come to me wild and wilder. Come to me, and I'm simply the best, better than all the rest. If you haven't seen my friend David's latest piece, you should all go and check it out on his Instagrams or his socials. He's dropped a banger. He's dropped an absolute banger, has the young fella. Night and day. Your eyes I get washed away. Just best. Yeah, it is an absolute rip snorter of a paint job from old DC. He's pulled out all the stops. You know, I love being critical on Dave's work to Dave. not necessarily in general, because I think you get too much wankery, right? Too many people are like, man, you're the best. I'd throw my paintbrushes away just to fucking be half as good as you. You know, that sort of shit. And sometimes you just need someone to tell you, you're not that good. You know? And I'm quite happy to take that bullet. But I do try when I think he nails it to be positive. I really think he's absolutely crushed this one. There is a downside, mate. He's got some pretty bad health issues. It's really impacting his life in general. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, mate. My dad always said, should always be kind to other people. Walk a mile in their shoes. That way you'll be a mile away and you'll have their shoes. It's a bit of a jokester, old Franco. Francesco. So in preparation of my triumphant return to the rugby league fields on Wednesday, I did some interval running today. I am in not good shape. It's going to be a bad time on Wednesday. A very bad time. Yeah. Sleep like a log tonight. Let's show off this diorama, I think, or at least how we're going. I'll just do this layer. G'day, Captain Carp. Yeah, this is a chick who rides on top of the crab. Indeed. Indeed. So I want to go for sort of an otherworldly, purpley sort of skin tone. We've got a lot of purple and a lot of greens at the moment, and teals and turquoises. So, and then we've got the African skin tone. So I don't want to go full suntanned beach babe on this color palette, because I think that would detract from the rest of what's going on. So I might just alright, so let's zoom out for you all. This is where we're at so far. I'm feeling good, but it's still a fair way off, so I'm not feeling great just yet. And this is sort of the angle for this guy. There you go. See, I like the colours. I feel like the colours are working nicely. I did indeed darken the crab claw, yeah, in a subtle way, so I think it works. Yeah, there's a lot of really nice colours that are working together. I think this little teal and sandy colours is working. And, you know, the plants help already, just for a couple of little plants. I want to add some more value to this area, because I think this chick's going to be standing here, and we need her to stand out quite a lot. So, and then the rest of the work on her is going to be pretty important too. So, but having said all that, I was. This is not what I was envisioning in my head. I was envisioning a much warmer green and sort of teal palette, and this is much colder and sort of more turquoise, and I think it's working. So the purple's been an interesting choice. Yeah. I like it so far. It's probably, as I said, it's different to what I envisaged. But that's common a common occurrence for me. I very rarely see things clearly in my head before I move into them, and then you just sort of go with the flow. Very watery of me. Very aquatic. Be like water, Bruce Lee said. Yeah, well, the Earth's got 3 banger models, so and it's also sort of in my wheelhouse in terms of colours. So it was always going to be hard to follow. Um, we're gonna have a little bit more difficulty following this one again, I think, because I think we've got to do air next, or it's just never going to get done. So. Thanks, Captain Carp. I appreciate that, my man. We'll see if we can get even a little closer. So, for those who are in the Dirty Paint Water Discord, I set myself a challenge, which has now been adopted by the whole Discord for the month of April, for our monthly challenge. And the challenge I set myself was drawing inspiration from our conversation a few weeks ago to try and be inspired by a piece of music and paint a model with that feeling. So try and connect. I'm going to try and connect with my music and turn it into a figure. It's a very Andy. Well, I already picked a song. That I like, but I was going to open it up for other suggestions for songs. But the song that I picked is Vivaldi's Four Seasons, the winter song. If you're not familiar with the song by name, I can almost guarantee you'll be familiar with the song when you hear it, because it is a banger. For those who are food aficionados, it was the theme song on Chef's Table on Netflix. It's been 3 months since Crimson. Almost. 2.5. 2-ish. Your point is you're slacking. No one's going to fix that but you, mate. In the words of Master Yoda, do or do not, there is no try. Well, mate, there's only one person who can fix that. You set yourself a goal, and then you've pissed Week out on the goal. So you get no sympathy from me, mate. I've not watched Barry, but I did actually watch the entirety of Shadow and Bone season 2 yesterday. It was a wonderful Sunday. I very much enjoyed season 2 of Shadow and Bone. Yes, I'd watched one episode the night before, so I watched 7 episodes yesterday. I mean, 7 episodes is like 7 hours. It sounds like a lot, but I finished streaming at 11. I finished watching the show at like 10 o'clock. So, bit of lunch, bit of a walk, watch a bit of footy. I am annoyed by this foot situation not sticking in. Oh, please. I've got Carnival Row Season 2. Got Ted Lasso. Got the football. Yeah, might be all that you care. Gay Robbie's Hobbies. Welcome, buddy. Yes, this might well be it. Slow down for a second, take your time. You remember that you're mine. And when everybody's telling you have no time, you prove 'em wrong again. G'day, Darius. Welcome, champion. We were just talking about what we're going to do for the Dirty Paint Water in Discord challenge, which I created for this month, and it is picking a song to be inspired by for a miniature piece of artwork. Thank you, mate. Yes, the Scorpion came out alright. I'll grab the whole diorama out for you. You can have a look in a second. Yeah, I quite like how this one's shaping up, and I wasn't pumped on it, but doing the base yesterday really helped, I think. Yeah, mate, Ted Lasso. I just get pumped for it every week. The song that I'm looking at the moment is. Look, I was trying to wind him up, but I was also trying to get out of my comfort zone. G'day, Major Dodo. You know, you gotta really stretch yourself sometimes, and I think it's good for me to do something I'm not good at, because I'm good at a lot of things. The skin's all right. It's still not right. It's still not good, but it's sufficient. Yeah, I'm not. I need to add a bit more warmth up here, so I think we'll go into a little bit of reddish or purplish tones in the skin. This stick's gonna obviously be a darker one, so that'll be a good element. We'll probably do some of this non-metallic Metal Gear on the stick, which will help. And yeah, we're gonna do some water effects and this sort of stuff. But I think it's looking okay right now. We just need to tweak and pluck everything around and stuff. No, pretty much the only thing that's on stream actually I think is the dude yesterday. I think I did most of the rest of it off stream, and obviously this chick. But I did Earth on stream, or most of Earth on stream. I love painting female skin. It's so good. I am, yes. I'm in Brisbane. I have done a couple of classes. I have plans to do one later on this year. But I was actually going to try and do it in Sydney as opposed to doing it in Queensland, because I've tapped out. I think I've tapped out the Queensland people. I think everyone's sick of hearing me talk. It's very fortunate that I do know the Sydney Painters Guild chaps pretty well. So that is my intended plan. I don't prep them in advance, no, mate. And you can actually, there's evidence because I put these together live on stream last week. So you're just unfortunately in the presence of greatness, and I can't help you with how you accept that. Bow in the presence of greatness. You should be honored by my lateness. Don't kill me. Only make me stronger. It's not camera trickery, mate. It's just good old-fashioned skill that anyone is capable of learning, and very few people do, because most people put up dog shit excuses like Timbo. I didn't have enough time. You got enough time, mate. You just don't have the willpower. Hope that hurts. Look, I tell you this. You look at Bucks, who's probably going to join us soon. Go and look at his stuff from 12 months ago. The guy sucks compared to now. It's been the same amount of time. What did he do in that time? I'll answer the question for you. He painted fucking models. Just all the time. Just got stuck into painting. It is my assertion that anyone can do what I do. I'm playing touch footy on fucking Wednesday. Fuck it out. I am very much not in my prime. And looking forward to playing a lot. But fuck, when I was in my prime, I was a very good touch footballer. Very good. There's no one here who can actually verify that statement, but I'll get one of my mates from board games who Koki used to play with me on touch footy. He'll tell you. You have to believe him. Franco, the legend. I did play footy with my dad, actually, when I was younger. It's one of my favourite memories, actually. I was 15 to play a couple of seasons with him down at Redcliffe. I asked Rocket for a quote to put on my dating profile. And she said, and I quote, "It's annoying how good he is at everything." And I don't think there's better summation of me as a human being than that. Alright. Please. Don't think that's the case. Switch to the best brush for some details. Yeah, well, we've got another one lined up for tonight. Maybe probably not as exciting as that one was, but Bucks is excited about it. He's enthusiastic about his topic. He loves coming up with ideas, and he's like, Dino, this is going to pop, mate. The crowds are going to love it. And I'm like, cool, man. Timbo, at what point are you going to realise that that is a cop-out? If you're passionate about something, you make time. Bucks was most definitely not correct, you gibberer. You absolute gibberer. Oof. I'm digging this vibe. Alright, I think we'll just go straight into Dark Sea Blue and Turquoise again, because it's worked well on the other ones. Maybe a bit of green. Look, this. If you go back and listen to the original conversation, I said that I find it difficult to understand how a piece of music can influence a piece of visual art. The first thing he said to try and refute my point, the fucking first thing, was to talk about movie scores. And he lost me at that point, because I was like, it's not a good argument, Bucks, when you're talking about movie scores, which are literally there to support a visual medium. You've lost me. You're like, what do you think about when you hear the Lord of the Rings music? And I go, I think about fucking Frodo, mate, traipsing around with the ring, i.e. Elijah fucking Wood, because it's from the movie, because that's what I hear in my head, and that's what I see in my head. And I will again pretty confidently state that I think all of his arguments stemmed around music creating a mood and a feeling. But I don't think that any of those things talked to my original point, which is, how do you translate that feeling onto a model? And that is what I'm going to try and do, to either prove him right and prove myself, again, tremendous at another thing, or I'll prove myself right and again also be right, which once again proves me right. So it's a win-win situation for me. See, this is a good conversation. Now, Jackson Pollock is a fantastic example. Is that legs there as well? I think it is. Bucks didn't talk about Jackson Pollock once, because I think Bucks's version of art, or the thing that he is inspired by when it comes to art, is more graffiti art. He gets really pumped about graffiti art. So I'm of the perspective that there is a way to do it. Else I wouldn't have tried to set myself this challenge of trying to do it. Well, the piece of music that I'm going to try and use for my inspiration is going to be a piece of classical music, which is a little bit of Vivaldi. This chick definitely needs to have white hair. I need some white. Winter. But again, and I guess this is my continued challenge with this discussion, right? Because the song Winter, Vivaldi made some little notes about what each of the little phrases was supposed to sort of feel like. And I feel like when you read those things and you're like, I can see that in my head, then all you're going to be thinking about when you hear that piece of music is what that looks like. Because fundamentally, we're very much visual people. You know, we're stimulated by visual things. Music makes us feel good, you know, rhythm through our bodies and the vibrations and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think it can make us see something. It's a fascinating conversation anyway. Absolutely, absolutely. Music makes us feel. Like, music can make me feel sad. Music can make me feel happy. Music can make me feel elated. Art also does those things.
Music can directly influence your art.
Ah, look at this guy. What about the timing of this peanut? What about the timing of this absolute spud?
Absolute spud. Some language.
Absolute stud, I meant to say, mate. Welcome.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. What are we talking about?
Oh, look, I was just talking about the challenge and how I'm going to try and prove you right,
Yeah.
and either do so or prove myself right.
You can't prove me right or yourself right because you're literally just one case study. You need many case studies in order to.
Well, it's fortunate we've got a number of people participating in the study.
Who have I got agreeing with me tonight? Robbie's come in pretty strong. I think he's also, what has he said here? Let me go back and have a look.
Oh, Bucks just wants to get on the train of people that agree with him.
No, I think he calls me out here, doesn't he? He says I need to do more research.
He said you did shit arguments, which I agree with.
Well, I didn't feel I would need to present a strong argument.
Were you that
on
convinced?
Such a well-known topic?
Were you that convinced that you were right?
Yeah. I was like, I don't even know why we're having this conversation. In fact, I thought we were having this conversation more so you could just have a laugh, really.
Well, we had the conversation so that I could try and understand, and I failed.
Yeah.
And it probably just highlighted that I'm the problem.
Did you go away and think more about it?
No.
I did. I went away and I thought.
that's
the
truth.
I tried to think more about it from your perspective.
That is the honest to God truth. I did not walk away from that conversation going, I need to think about music more.
Yeah. Empirical evidence has been presented.
I wish I did.
Yeah, case studies are important on a miniature screen.
What happened was I was going back last night. I was in bed and I was looking at last week's stream when we were chatting because I was looking at the model and I was just trying to remember how I'd done certain thing and I was like thinking about the process. And so
that's an interesting way of saying you were going back and rewatching our stream because they're entertaining. Nice.
I wasn't. I have done that in the past.
You're not here first, chat busted.
I have done it in the past. I will say that. I find our chats sometimes interesting, but it wasn't in this particular instance. In this particular instance, it was literally just. I was like, how did I do that again? I need to go back and watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the background was you and I chatting about music, and I was like, you know what? I really should put my money where my mouth is and try and do this. and see if I can.
So I think so. Yeah, like I went away and I had to think about exactly what you were saying, and there are parts of what you're saying that I can really see the process for. Like I can understand what you're saying, and I think that to link audio stimulation, I guess, directly to visual, like a link from audio stimulation to visual output or audio input into visual output, is, I don't know that it can be proven. If please, everyone who's watching, chime in and get involved in this conversation. However, like that's only if we think about it as a direct A to B process. If it's not an A to B process, and in fact it's more like cooking, where we put a whole bunch of stuff into a pot and then we sort of produce from those ingredients something, then I think that's a better way to digest that. Maybe makes a little bit more sense.
That's a much better argument than you presented last time.
Well, last time I was memeing a lot and really thought like that it was just going to be a quick like this is true, let's move on.
But it was. I still do not believe it to be true, and I know that boggles your mind.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't boggle my mind. It doesn't, honestly. We're different people, and it'd be very foolish to suggest that there is only one way of doing things, or there is only one way to be inspired, or one way is wrong and another way is right, or one way exists and another way doesn't. Like, I think that if you were to put music on, I don't think that it would have an impact so much on you, because I don't think you're open for it to have an impact on you. I think for people who maybe let music guide them through a lot of their life, not just this one thing, I think that it's more likely that those people would be the people agreeing with me. Whereas I think people who are not really in tune with music and maybe don't really like music too much, or are not invested in it as much, they're obviously not going to get as much out of it in their creative process.
Now you know that my enthusiasm exists for music, right?
Oh, indeed.
But I'm not open to that being the case, and maybe that is the core of our conversation. Is that?
So Darius has kicked in here with, okay, so take this with a grain of salt, but me, audio degree and biology degree, but from a physical point of view, brain section for auditory and visual cortex are linked. Goes back to movement, sound, stay alive, don't get eaten. That's a great point.
So if I put on music right now, and it was music that I like, I would absolutely be in a more positive headspace, right?
Now, would that look what Robbie has said here, because this is a great point, leading on exactly what you've just said.
Change the way that I produce a figure. That is the part that I'm not convinced on, right? I have no doubt that my mood would change by listening to music. Would that result in a physical change?
Well, again, have a look at what Robbie is saying here. It may change the color choices you're making based on your mood, and it may change the motion in which you choose to move your brush. That's
what we need to figure out, and that's why I'm doing this challenge with myself.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Robbie, on this one. And this is probably what I would base my whole argument on, and probably did a poor job of it last week. I was a bit underprepared, really, which is the story of my life. But yeah, I think if you're open to listening to it and embracing the emotions, then it would 100% would affect it. And this is why I chose scores and music without lyrics specifically for some of the conversation, because I think that instruments have a powerful way to invoke emotion, and when words are removed from it and it's just instruments, it hits completely different with lyrics. Now, I'm not saying anything new here at all, obviously. Like, this is a very layman, basic sort of conversation here, but I think combining that sort of emotion alongside creativity leads to an outcome.
Well, we're going to try it. We're going to try it out.
Yeah, I actually listened fully to the score you sent last night.
Yeah, Vivaldi. How good is it, eh?
Yeah, it's interesting. About 4 minutes I really enjoyed, and that's when I started to start feeling something. The horns are like the violin, sorry, not the horns, the violins. The strings are really high pitched and quite piercing in the early parts of it. So I would wonder if you would find that to be
discordant and jangling are the words I use.
Yeah.
They're just like. Can I be open to it?
I choose a lot more moody stuff, I guess, and at about 4 minutes in that thing, it's a lot more moody. So
Well, there's.
yeah,
Are you not familiar with that piece of music?
the Four Seasons. I can't say that I am a big Vivaldi listener.
All right. Well, he does 4 different seasons that are each pieces of music that try and represent the 4 seasons. It's quite interesting.
I made that assumption, my friend, based on the title of the.
Very good.
The
So,
piece.
so here's a question I've been asking myself today. Do I pick a piece of artwork, three-dimensional artwork, figure, to paint, that supports the music in the story? Or do I go the opposite way and pick a piece that has nothing to do with the music and try and feel the music on the piece?
So often I can only speak from my personal experience.
You can speak to whatever you want.
At times, try to marry music to the piece I'm painting, but more often than not, I have sets of music that I will go to in my creative process at different points in the process, like whether it's early on or late or whatever the case may be. So I think you should just put on the music, and I think you should have a selection of options open to you, and I think whichever piece it's going to be is going to jump out to you, and that's going to be where we start. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm excited about this because
That's how I operate a lot. Like I usually have I think you're the same, right? You usually have 5 or 6 pieces built, and I usually have 5 or 6 pieces built when I'm doing well. 5 or 6 pieces, maybe more, built and zenithieled, ready to just be grabbed at a moment's notice when inspiration strikes.
I don't have quite that, but I if I feel like picking up a piece and starting it, I'll just do it. I'll just go bang.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get influenced by my painting right now? Color.
Visually.
Yeah.
Visually and color. Visually, yeah.
I look at a model and I go, I feel like this is a atmosphere of X, or it's a color of Y, or this is what I want to push through in this piece.
Maybe we shouldn't entertain these conversations too much more, because I've been asked to do a 3-hour seminar in July, and I need some content.
This can be a test. This can be a test run, mate.
No, yeah, I want to run some stuff by you actually for that, but we'll probably do that off screen. I've been chatting to Dave today about it. Speaking of the wonderful David, dropped an absolute stunner today.
Yeah, it's a banger. I already talked about it a little bit, but I sent him a message because I'm always criticizing him when he posts something, right?
Yeah.
And that's because I feel like he doesn't need to hear 800 people telling him how great he is and how much they want to be on him. But so I will be critical and analytical on his pieces, but every now and then I just have to go, you know what, mate, that's just as a gold star. And the annoying thing is he's doing more of them recently than he has probably at any time. I feel like he's found the balance between the sterile, smooth, ultra blended look, but just that little bit of extra something.
He's finding interest in
exactly.
a way. So I'm gonna parlay a lot of these topics into one. I sent David a message about halfway through the process. He sent me some work in progress shots, and we were discussing it amongst some other things. And I said to him, David, I think you're at your absolute best with this subject matter. I think that this is comfortably now where you're at in your journey. You can paint a lot of things, and you can paint a lot of things well, but part of your identity and what's kind of solidified you as one of the best painters in the world is this incredible catalog of fantasy characters, female characters or feminine characters that you've done. And he seems to almost always do well on this particular subject matter. Now, I'm not going to pigeonhole him into being good at one thing and that's it.
I agree,
But
Joe.
I just think he hits a different gear when he's doing this subject.
So let me challenge you on that, because I think
Sure.
3 of Dave's best pieces are the Orc that's orange, the Chaos Dwarf, and the Troll carrying the thing from Spira. I think those are 3 of his absolute best pieces, and none of those fall under that purview.
No. So I would say that those 3 pieces perfectly align with your interests in fantasy.
But I also think
And I think-
that they're an example of Dave just stepping out of his comfort zone, right,
Yeah.
into something that he's not good at and really stretching himself, you know, and finding a new way to do things and finding,
I
new
think I
pathways.
still think though that statement you made is based on your preference of what you like from Dave versus what is truly incredible from Dave, right?
Well, I'll accept
And
that.
I think that if I were to choose my own personal ones, I would agree with a lot of what you're saying.
I'll accept
But
that.
I think if we look at the skill level and execution that goes into these particular pieces, I mean, Dave's Cozy to this day is one of those ones that you look at and you're like, wow, this is something else. And then that was what, three years ago, I think. And 3 years ago was when Dave had started to really comprehend and master the technical aspect of miniature painting. 3 years on, that's not his challenge. In those 3 years on, his challenge has been what we've criticized Dave for, which is allowing the technical aspect of miniature painting to dominate the pieces of art in which he's producing.
Yeah.
And in the last 18 months, he has found the thing, whatever the thing is, that is now pushing beyond that into some more expressive works.
But here's my challenge for you, mate. The only reason that he's been able to find that is by stretching himself into those areas where he felt uncomfortable.
You are right there, 100%.
So
Right.
that's why I feel like those works are more seminal and important for Dave than the bread and butter that he knows, right? So now, don't get me wrong. I agree with your perspective that Dave's best work is female skin tones, right? Because he gets them in a way that is compelling.
But someone grab a link for Darius in the chat. Thanks, Timbo. You're becoming quite a stud with the links there, mate.
He's just trying to recover after I absolutely fucking destroyed him before. Dave doesn't really do stuff for himself anymore, Jared. I think it's all commissioned. So
Dave's personal stuff that he's doing now, Jared, is sculpting.
Yeah.
Dave's working incredibly hard at sculpting and taking classes for sculpting at the moment. Yes, Dave. Yeah, we're talking about our dear friend David. He, if you actually look at his last 3 pieces as well before this, he's been building to this piece for a little while.
Yep.
This is the crescendo of purple right now.
Yep. I love how much he pushes himself down a path of I want to be good at this, because I one of the things I hammered him for at Crimson Brush a few years ago was just his non-metallic metals. Silvers look like grey, and then he puts something up like this now. 2 years later, after several projects where he's explored that, and it's really, really, it makes me feel like I've added real value to him.
Well, Dave, I'm not going to pretend to like I've known Dave his whole life, or we've been friends our whole lives, but I've spent a lot of time, I guess, talking to Dave and getting to know Dave in the last 18 months to a little bit longer. And Dave is incredibly passionate about this. I mean, if you look on Discord and you read his Discord tag, which I saw today, and I thought this this sums up David to a T. I'm just going to go grab it now. Okay.
Okay.
Just an Aussie painter and sculptor who loves miniatures enough to devote my whole life to it. That's it.
Yeah.
So I know full well that Dave respects you a lot, and I think values your friendship a lot. So when you say those things, he really takes that stuff on board, and he really thinks about it and thinks, you know, values your criticisms and ruminates on them, and then puts it to work, right?
You know, I don't do that just to be a dickhead though, and I know.
No, not at all.
I don't need to justify my actions to anyone, but you know, I feel like there's times when people need to hear that stuff, and it's usually the mark of someone actually having respect for you when they'll tell you what you need to hear.
Yes.
As opposed to, you know, what the masses are saying.
But to the masses, what Dave creates is truly amazing and unachievable and unattainable for a lot of people. So, you know, again, I think we've mentioned this maybe last week, or maybe just a conversation between you and I. You can only understand as far as your knowledge permits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you will lose words. The more you don't know about something, the less words you've got to express yourself, right? So you have a very good understanding of painting. In fact, a great understanding of painting, both technically and the rest. So you're able to provide, David, with
let's not go overboard though, because I don't think I do. And again, this comes back to the conversation we've been having about feeling and stuff. I'm a robot. I just do X, Y, Z, replicate.
Yeah, and so your feedback is robotic feedback. That is like, this is not right, and that is not right. This is incorrect, Dave. You know.
So.
I don't know. I think you're selling yourself a little bit short there on your your own
critical paint
capabilities.
Critical paint. Please don't take offence to me saying the plebs, the plebeians. You know,
yeah.
It's just, if you go and look at Dave's post right now, you'll see 850 people going, "Oh my god, I'm going to throw my brushes away because you're so fucking great." He is great. We don't need to tell Dave he's great. We don't need to tell him that. He knows. You know, I think we need to celebrate his effort that he's put to get there. So,
we are all our harshest critics, and at David's level of painting, there is not a lot that many people are going to be able to tell him that he doesn't already know.
Yeah.
And this is the challenge of getting to the higher levels, to the upper atmospheres of your endeavour, of your pursuit and your passion. So we're onto the water signs, is it now, mate?
You've been out of the loop for a bit, mate. We're more than onto the water signs. We're almost done the water signs.
No, I haven't been out of the loop. I know what you've done.
Fucking.
I love the palette of this whole piece. I love all the way that colour is moving. I just really don't like the Pisces model at all. I know you've grown to it to enjoy it. But
I need to fix.
Just does absolutely nothing.
I need to fix a few elements. I think this area needs a bit more warmth. So I understand. I disliked the model a lot when I first got it. It has grown on me.
Mm-hmm.
It has.
I just want to point out something to you as well. I think you're really starting to hit a rhythm again.
For sure. Yeah.
And I'm proud of you, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate.
For finding that gear. Because I know that was eluding you a little bit in the last sort of 6 months. So to see you sort of hitting your stride again and really getting brush to model, and I'll say brush to model in a meaningful way, because I think for the likes of yourself and myself, we're always going to be painting no matter what. Yeah.
Yep.
But there is different types of painting, and often I think when you're a prolific painter, you sink into your comfort zones when you're maybe not feeling it as much. And that, I think for both you and I, that's like army painting or board game painting or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Switch your brain off painting.
Yeah, just easy stuff.
Yeah, just easy stuff that you don't have to think too much about. But no, it's really good to see you getting back in and throwing haymakers again.
Critical paint. I assume you're talking about Dave there, and yeah, there's very few people that I know of that have worked as hard as Dave has and continues to work to be the best version of himself. Um, one of Dave's absolute greatest strengths is his ability to push himself to just make sure everything is perfect. It's not a skill that I have in any way, shape, or form. But it's
I
one
don't
that
even think it's a skill you want though either.
it's not, no, but it's one that
Yeah.
Dave has in spades, and it's if there's one thing that I think people undervalue when they look at Dave and talk about Dave's work, it's that mindset of I'm just going to stick to this until it's fucking right.
Do you think that it's undervalued because I think you need to know Dave personally to know this about him?
No, I
Or
think
do you think it shines through his work?
I think it's undervalued in general, mate. I think people in this day and age are very much about the quick wins and the easy solutions. So
I agree with that.
yeah, I don't think it's a unique to Dave issue, but it comes across to me in his work.
Mm. No, I'm stoked for him.
Yep.
I'm stoked for his sculpting that he's doing at the moment as well.
Yeah.
I know actually he's been having a really tough time with his health the last quarter. However, he's been working really hard to keep his motivation up, and that's something that I think Benny, our dear friend Benny, has directly influenced with
Awesome.
Dave.
Good on you, Benny.
Uh,
Benny's one of the kindest souls I've ever met. I hope he's
Yeah.
not listening, but because he's just a wonderful, wonderful person.
Yeah, he's a huge creative inspiration to me. A very good friend as well, but he's quite a funny guy because he's actually he can be a wonderful emotionally creative runner for people, but he still suffers from a lot of the same things as the people that he's helping, so it's... Hey, Mig back, how are you, mate?
Mig back.
It's an interesting one.
Welcome, Mig back, you fucking champion.
So let's steer this into the skid a little bit. If we wind it back, I asked you a question yesterday. I think
you did. You wanted to bring a topic in.
I want to bring a topic into discussion, and again, the floor is everyone's to participate in this. But we talk about style a lot, right? Style is really prevalent in the conversation right now in miniature painting in general. And I don't know that we are asking or defining clearly what style is and what it isn't. So I would ask everyone the question, what is style when it comes to miniature painting? And I'm looking forward to some of these answers. And I'll ask you the question as well.
I initially dismissed your question as another Bucks wankery, right? I read it and I was like, this is Bucks just wanted to throw it out there. But the more I thought about it, the more I think there is really something quite deep and insightful in your question. So well done, you've done well. Because the question is actually, what is style? What do we mean when we talk about style? And
Mr. Moscala says, I think there is no style. It's either good composition or not. Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
The way that I answer that question with style is actually, as you correctly analysed, is actually process. It's the process that Polish painters, Spanish painters, English painters, etc. follow that gives them their unique style. And so is style actually just a method of learning? Is it a way that these painters are brought up into a specific style?
Style could be defined as a set of techniques or a rhythm that a painter uses. So I like that.
So the Spanish is obviously our go-to for you and I when it comes to style. And we just love their use of colour and their approach towards painting.
Mm-hmm.
But is that just the way that they're all taught? Is that why they have that style? Is it the process? Is it the people that are driving that scene with their painting technique?
It's a good one, Darius. Everyone has their own individual style. That's what makes us different. Good point. So I actually think that we are missing what style is, right? Style, to me, um, and where I think we are missing it a little bit, is the embellishments and little things that you do in your own way that brings out something that makes it clearly identifiable that you have done it. I think that's what style is in miniature painting.
So the little flourishes.
Yeah, there's these little things, these little tricks or whatever that you do. And so I'm going to rattle off a few, okay?
Yep. I'm not sure I'm with you here, but go.
Yeah, so
Hi, Paul.
Sergio does these really cool little, like
Micro details.
maybe micro detail is the way, but it's the way he does micro detail. It's not the Spanish way or like this or that. It's specifically to Sergio how he does his micro details. The way he uses his brush, that's his style. As I said to you in the chat, I think you have your own style. And I think your style is it's a combination of your speed and your accuracy to put the paint where you want to. That influences directly your style, which you have said in the past. I have a sketchy style, sure, but I think if we break it down further, they are the actions that lead to you having your own style that makes your work easily identifiable as yours.
Yep.
I think something that I used to do and stopped doing was, do you remember I was using fluoro colors a lot and randomly splattering them in places on models?
Yep.
That to me is a style. I'm sure we could go on and on about style. Now, the question now is, how does style come to be? Where does style come from? Because we have this conversation all of the time that is,
we love the Spanish.
Andrew, you've got to find your style. You know, when you find your style, you'll know.
Dumbledore does have style.
Yeah, Dumbledore's got swag.
Or just a fucking fun sidelight for you all. Andrew Buckley got sorted into Hufflepuff. And I've never heard a more accurate fucking sorting hat than that.
Mate, I answered like 40 questions. There was no escaping it either. And Yana did it, and she got Slytherin, so we know it's ultra accurate because she always gets Slytherin.
Accuracy. Classic.
So style and artistic tool decision, knowing a skill so well you can choose when to use it to enhance the model. That's a sick question, and I think that's actually right on the money there. I think style is after. I think it comes after you have learned how to paint, or after you have learned the rules. You learn to break the rules, and through learning to break the rules, you learn that in the way in which you break the rules, your style starts to emerge. What's the difference between style and a set of techniques in use? Well, I find techniques to be very.
So let me try and answer that for you, Bucks.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
techniques are a process that you use to follow. Style is knowing when to put the techniques into place, when and where to put your technical knowledge into practice.
Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty good.
I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck on this original thought of, well, what is style if not?
Well, I'm gonna because this was a 2-part question, wasn't it? There were 2 parts to this. What I asked you was, and if I just go back, I asked you, painting systems versus painting styles. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
How each of them impact your painting, and does style develop from system, or does system develop from style? Or are they all just integrated in your creative process? So if we have a look at system now, right? There are some awesome people creating in this hobby space, in this artistic endeavor, that are promoting systems in which they've come up with to better help others. So if we go through the short list I've got here, I've got Games Workshop has a system, which is the base layer shade system, which is very much specifically to help people achieve a minimum standard that is rewarding to be able to play with your tabletop miniatures. I think Code of Paint has their own system that they teach, and I think that system is for the same purpose, just in a different way, different measure. And I think that lends on more traditional scale modelling techniques to execute than the Games Workshop one. This is a really interesting one. The Artis Opus guys, who have developed a system all based around dry brushing, and understanding and pushing dry brushing technique much further than most people have before.
Except for the old Bohun. Remember Bohun? Fucking hell.
Yeah, Bohun did do some cool stuff. But like the moist dry brushing stuff and the using paper to like cordon off areas and all this sort of stuff. This is all very system. I think Banshee teaches systems through Miniature Academy, but I think that he explores more from an artistic approach. But even if I look at his lessons that are free and available on the Miniature Academy stuff, a lot of that is really like applying basic art principles to miniature painting. So like you have 3 colors, your 3 primary colors. Now let's go and mix our way through to get, so on and so forth. I'm not going to sit and go all the way through that. I'm sure we could probably think of some more people out there who have a system that they are selling as a way to paint miniatures.
Well,
providing.
You haven't talked about Sergio.
Sergio is there as well. Sergio is in the list too. Sergio has a system, and his system, Sergio and Aniel are probably the two sides of the same coin, right?
Yep.
And I think the latest system that's being approached is by many different contributors is Contrast Paints, or let's just say Slapshot.
Slapshot, yeah.
Slapshot is the next system that's kind of been making itself present recently. Now, are those systems just style being taught? Or are these systems responsible for style being created? Oh, the other way around. I think I said that somewhere. You get it. Or does style influence those systems?
So I feel like systems are just the building blocks, right? And I think I'm going to go back to what I said, because I'm brilliant, which is that style is knowing when to implement what system and where. Because if you want to break it down into a small enough metric, right, putting paint on your brush is a system that you learn. Putting your paint on the palette is a system that you learn. So we're talking about technical things that, for me, are all about skills that you learn. The style is knowing when to apply them and where.
So is system just process?
Yes.
Okay. So then everyone has process. Everyone, but if system is just process, cool. Is system style? And if system is style, then everyone has a unique style, because almost everyone has a unique process in which they do what they do.
I don't think system is style, no.
Yeah, okay. So we were establishing that potentially they're two separate things.
I think style is the way that you choose to implement the knowledge that you have. And I think that is personal to yourself.
Are we using the right terminology? Let's give it a very long way to go to say, are we using the right terminology to go back to the very first thing you said, which is when you reference the Spanish painting style, is it actually the Spanish painting system? And then what you like from the Spanish painting system is the individual styles that are coming from that.
It's probably the most insightful thing you've ever said, Andrew. It's not a high bar, but it's probably the most insightful thing you've ever said.
Yeah.
I love a lot of Spanish painters, but I don't love all of them. You know, Ruben and David Aroba are for me the two best. And
You love Sergio.
I do love Sergio, but I would be
What's the picture of best? So you're saying like the ones that have filled their skill bars to the highest level, like they're the most well-rounded, accomplished.
Like I love Sergio, but I think Sergio, I won't say he mails it in, but I think Sergio really just does his thing and he does it really well. Ruben continually drops stuff that just melt my brain.
Ruben is always at the forefront of pushing miniature painting further.
Yeah.
Ruben's latest piece, the fact that we didn't speak about Ruben's latest piece last week is fucking criminal. And we should be ashamed of ourselves.
He's the
because
fucking man.
Right now, for everyone at home, this is quite frankly one of the best things I've ever seen painted.
Ruben is without a doubt the man.
This is it feels like a culmination of all of the chibi painting studies that they've done.
Yeah.
Just put on a bust and dialed to 100.
Did you see the figure one as well? Yeah. Hey, Mr. Mobsco, the classical conversation's a good call actually. You know, we sort of exist in a silo in the miniature world where we think we're breaking boundaries and doing crazy stuff, and you know sometimes we do forget that fucking historical classical artists were painting shit like this in their sleep, and you know.
Oh yeah, I think we've had the conversation many times about how derivative our passion is.
Yeah, and there's people like Kirill and you know, Alfonso and so forth who really do lean into a lot of the masters.
No, this one is beautiful. This is a really lovely piece. Probably one of my favourite pieces from last year. But no, the latest one we're talking about is... Do you want to bring it up, Deno, so everyone can see? So we can sort of highlight it? I don't want to interrupt your painting too much, but it's worth. I think it's worth a 5-minute run over because it's really stunning.
Bum bum ba bum bum. Bum bum ba bum.
This is the first time in a little while as well, I'd like to say, that I was stopped in my doom scrolling tracks and went, this is new in our field. Or this is something different.
Are you talking about the sword 75 mil, or are you talking about the bust version?
The bust is what I'm talking.
Yeah, all right. Is it on Ruben's page? He doesn't post enough, Ruben.
He doesn't post on his own. It'll be on Big Charles.
Yeah, it's not. Well, there's one on there, but it's not enough. I need more, Ruben.
I sent it to you, didn't I? I screenshot it. Let's go back.
Fuck, he's a banger, eh? Just his fucking page. Fucking love that guy. I love him so much. If he was available, I would have his children.
If he ever catches one of our streams, Ruben, would you like to come to Australia?
Well, not that one. Yeah, Ruben, please. Come to my house. We'll paint models together. It'll be glorious. Is that the one? Hey, Cooch!
No, this is not the one. This is Sergio Vilches as well.
Oh, that's Vilches. Yeah, no, I want the other one, don't I? Hang on, it's the next click. Good.
Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah. Vilches is a banger too, by the way.
Vilches is an absolute stud. So this is like this is the same sort of thing as what I was trying to learn with the jacket on Alice Cross. So if you look where he's putting the colours, like flat, these are flat. This is something that you sort of criticised me for, was that because you're using flat colour and colour to transition and tell the story, the contrast can get a little bit cooked. But like when you look at, look at the sleeve, for example. It's just layered colour on top of colour on top of colour.
Yeah.
But it's like the knowing how to and when to, like this is off the wall.
Yeah, this is Ruben Martinez, mate.
Yeah.
You were trying to tell me the other week that you weren't about Ruben. You were like, nah, I'm not about Ruben anymore. He's got nothing.
The greatest exaggeration. I don't even think that conversation happened. I think you imagined that.
I will fucking
It's a
screenshot.
straight stirrer.
I will screenshot what you said. I've got a fucking record of it. You're like, I'm not about Ruben anymore. I'm not about him. And I'm like, it's okay
That's
to be
a lie.
wrong. It's okay to be wrong, Bucks.
That's a lie. Get the screenshot. This is absolute slander. What I actually said when I sent you this photo was, "Okay, Ruben, I'm sorry I strayed. You're still that guy." Is what I said.
Yeah. Because you strayed, because you were like, nah, I'm not about Ruben anymore.
Yeah, it was just look, man. When we were going into the sweet shop, I can't eat the same sherbet, the same orange sherbet.
Mind you, there's me over here
Time.
I'm just eating Kit Kats every day. I'm just like, I'm a Kit Kat guy.
Yeah.
No, look, I just love Ruben's approach, right? Because you look through his work, and you can see Ruben's style in just about everything that he does, but they don't look the same. You know, that's the thing that I find so inspiring is this doesn't look like anything else he's ever painted, but you still know it's him. You still know it's him.
Yeah.
And I love it. I feel like Ruben's number one in the world at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah, and I just don't think we appreciate that enough. I don't think we appreciate enough because he spends all his time behind the curtains. You know, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Just shaping these monsters.
He's truly an incredible painter.
Eric is a wonderful painter, but Eric is not doing what Ruben is doing. I got all the time in the world for Eric. He's done some
Eric,
stuff.
they're like names that permeate around the top, all the time, and Eric's right there. Girl is obviously outstanding.
Masculines, Natalia.
Natalia. There's miniature painters. There's a whole David is in the mix.
For sure. But tell me anyone competes with that.
I mean, and this is maybe next week someone else will drop something and we'll be really fond of that. So let's just say it's a beautiful time to be involved in miniature painting.
That is
because
true.
People are doing some awesome stuff, and you and I have no issue in resting the laurels at the feet of people we admire who do amazing stuff. So,
or resting those laurels at my own feet.
Or, as we learned last week, resting those laurels at my feet, as Kaylin decided to let us know.
What a stitch up. She's stitched me up there, right? I even talked about you earlier on the stream tonight, mate. I just said, Andrew is an example of someone who has worked hard and put in the hours, because I was absolutely slamming Timbo he's like, I just haven't painted it. I will set myself a goal. I wanted to paint this many models and then I haven't done it, And I was like, yeah, and it's your fucking fault that you haven't done that, mate. So there's the only person stopping you is you.
He's airing you out, Timbo. In the end, man,
you put in the work, mate. You put in the work.
You have to choose painting. Painting's not going to choose you, if that makes sense. Like when you're tired. I was actually having a chat to young Caden and Rachel, young CJ and Rachel for a run home. That's my youngest brother who lives with me.
The little pegger himself,
and his partner.
He's a
young designer.
Yeah, go and look up Andy Bucks art on Instagram for Bucks's socials. Little Pegatron.
We were just having a chat about exactly that, and about the importance of discipline in wanting to grow and get better at anything in life. I am not a fond person of the term motivation, or what motivation is. I hate motivation. I hate it used. I don't like it. Probably similar to the way that you
dislike talent.
Yeah. I think that when people say I'm just not motivated or whatever, I think what you're actually saying is I'm just not disciplined. Because it's discipline that drives you to when you're tired after work and had a shit day. It's discipline that gets you to your hobby table to paint, right? Instead of turning on the TV or turning on Marvel Snap on your phone or
I made Infinite, by the way.
Yeah, well done. That's an awesome achievement. Or playing Call of Duty or whatever your vices are when it comes to sort of the quick dopamine fixes. And so I was just having a chat to him about that. And it's for Timbo, I would say that it's discipline, my friend, that is going to get you to reach that target that you've set for yourself. And in the end, you know, although I have empathy towards people's situations, you know, with kids and maybe they work a lot of hours or whatever. But if you want something bad enough, or you want to get good at something bad enough, that's the path in which you must take.
I love it, Andrew. I love it. As you know, I am unsympathetic to people in general, so I have no empathy for people that are like, oh, I haven't got enough time to paint, or oh, you know, it's just really hard to paint at the moment. If it means enough to you, you will find a way.
Yes.
And that is not just applicable for painting, that is applicable to life.
Yeah. And I will say, as an added caveat, hey, Cooch, by the way. I think Cooch, you recently just dropped a video, didn't you, Cujo?
No, it's not Cujo, it's the AI artist formerly known as Cujo.
The AI artist formerly known as Cujo. Love it. And in the end, the love you made is equal to the love you gave. What a guy. A Scottish legend. No, Timbo, we're less than, I guess, having a dig and more hopefully
motivating you.
Challenging you to achieve your goals in the way that we think you can.
Very rarely, I won't say never, very rarely do I hammer on someone that I don't think there's value in me hammering them over it. You know, like...
Hey, Sleepy.
Hey, Sleepy Slang. If I think someone's a lost cause, I'm not going to put in the time. I'm not going to invest my effort and energy into trying to help them be better in whatever way I do that. Unless it's my work, in which case it's my job. But, you know, if someone comes to me and is like, oh, I just want to get better at painting, man, what should I do? And I look at their work and I'm like, you just need to paint more. And they're like, oh, I can't. And I think to myself, this guy's got no hope. I just say, nah, don't know, mate.
No, I don't even think you have that much active thought about it. You just move on.
Yeah.
You don't even, you know, you're not like, I'm not going to, like, you're not actively like malicious in going, well, I'm not going to help this guy, fuck this guy. You're like, you just don't even think about it, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
you haven't got what it takes.
You're impartial to it.
Jog on.
Yeah.
Hello, Bug King, you superstar. What's happening? May just add a little bit of orange. A little bit of orange. What are we at the moment? An hour 30. That's exactly it, Bug King, yes. I don't think I can help you.
Yeah, you know, like a lot of people go in depth on it, but you just, my thing is you just have to choose pain. You have to choose it. Hey, Scara.
Hey, Scara.
So, we got on a little bit of a side note there, but systems and style.
Yeah.
Now.
So what you want to ask is,
I'm going to play this again.
Yeah.
So you say what you want to say, and then I'll go.
Do we need to change our language into system?
Well, I think we've presented an argument, or I think we've presented a theory or a way of thinking that suggests that we do. I'd love to sit down with many passionate people, and certainly people who are much further along than I am in this journey, and have their opinions on it as well.
I'm right here, mate.
Well, you know. When it's just the two of us in an echo chamber together, just going, "Yeah, man, that's a great idea." Oh, you know, that's an even better idea. Maybe we could
Fucking great
fall
point.
into that trap of just you know.
Fucking great point, Andrew. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Dano.
Yeah. You know, so having some pushback is always really good, and other perspectives, particularly from around the world as well.
No, I'm happy with my echo chamber, mate. Thank you.
We'd end up in a bloody naked wrestling match with the Spaniards, mate. Team Australia.
Mate, wouldn't be the first time I've been there in a naked against the Swedes. Going into a sauna with the Swedes. Terrible idea.
Yeah, so where I want to parlay this to now, and something that I'm thinking about as I've been asked to do a seminar in or a 3-hour block here. Or actually, what the term was proposed to me, and what I really love is a 3-hour jam session.
All right. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed
yeah.
I wasn't asked, but I'm very enthusiastic for you, mate. Let's talk about it now. What do you want to talk about in your jam session?
Okay. So the things that I want to talk about in a jam session is, well, first off, I love the term jam session and I love what it implies.
All right, let me ask you one more question before we go. What's the difference between a jelly and jam?
What's the difference between jelly and jam?
Yeah. The answer is I can't jelly my dick in your ass.
Yeah.
Continue.
Did you like that one that I said to this week? that dude telling the joke on Letterman or whatever it was?
Yeah, that was a banger. That was an absolute banger.
Crack up, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a banger.
So,
what's happening in your jam session?
Oh no! Well, first off, let's talk about jam sessions. So I find that I've only been to one taught class, but I've spent enough time with people who have been to a few, and I guess I've seen the nature of them from around the world. So I think I have a good enough insight into them. But you have a lot of different skill levels in the room.
Yep.
And that's the first thing I want to look at. The second thing is that these are all taught in a very year 9 art, not even art, like year 9 school, like classroom style environment, which I'd like to challenge.
You're a real feelings guy.
Pardon?
You're a real feelings guy. You're like, let's get out in nature, kids. Let's go and have a walk around and feel the trees.
And also, they are all process and technique driven more than anything else. It's sort of like, here's an insight into how I do this. And I don't think that if I'm running a seminar, I don't think I'm in a position to be wanting to tell people how I do things and then ergo you should try do these things. I would like to help people find the way that they do things.
Yep.
And what's best for them. So I prefer to host more of like a discussion or lead a focus group on ways you can unlock your painting. And it's probably a little bit wanky, and I certainly probably wouldn't charge as much as some of the other classes that do focus more on technique and things like that.
Let me just sort of give you a bit of an insight. So Craftworld Studio came out and were the judges at our last Crystal Dragon. Wonderful people. They did it right the year before COVID, and they did a little seminar on their approach to colour, and
mm-hmm.
they spent 2 hours talking to people about colour and showing pictures, and it was like nothing any of them had ever experienced in a class. And most of the people that walked away from it were like, that was crazy helpful.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people were like, that's the worst, can I please have a refund? Now, I'm not sure whether your think is going to have the same ratio or
it may well do,
response.
and that's why I wouldn't. You know, I am like, I think the monetary cost element would only be put on. It's ticketed, I believe, because it's to contribute to the running of the event. I'm volunteering, so I don't receive anything out of it at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think that the key there is you've got to have a way to express how you feel things.
Mm-hmm. This is where, so if you let me go on,
okay. Sorry, I interrupted
a little bit. You jumped ahead a little bit, but that's all right. So some of the things that I would like to cover is your surroundings and how to create a suitable, creatively conducive space.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an exercise that I'd like to do with that, which will maybe help people figure out a little bit more about themselves and how they what would be best for them. So a few exercises and a bit of fun. That surrounds, I don't want to give too much of it away, but it would surround inspirations and how they can impact us.
So I want to challenge you because, you know, you're going to be talking for, one assumes, 2 to 3 hours. Us talking about your topics is not going to ruin that for people that are intending on coming along. And if anything, it may help you shape and understand what people are interested in. So, I think
but there is some reveal elements as well.
Okay. Feel free.
There are some elements where I want to catch people off guard completely.
All right. Well, feel free to keep those ones under your hat.
I can't talk about that specifically. I can talk to you about it, but I don't want to put it out there because I don't want to ruin it for others.
Okay. Very good.
So another key point that I want to highlight on is feedback that I've seen people give about attending seminars and classes is that it's often the time spent with friends painting that is more valuable than the lessons being taught.
Ooh.
If it is more valuable than the lessons being taught and has more of an impact on your end result and takeaway from the event, then we should be doing that more and encouraging that more and trying to teach through that avenue more.
Well, that's what the Sydney Painters Guild is in essence. Is that I'll just challenge that. That's not my belief. It's my belief that the value you get out of classes is forcing people to paint for 2 days, because very few people will paint for 2 days without external stimuli. So having a reason to do that, to me is the value in class.
Yeah, maybe I added the extra stuff to it, right? Because
you felt that was your experience at Natalia's class, was that you got the most value out of just spending time with Benny and Dave and.
Not just Benny and Dave. Everyone in the room. Everyone in the room, and it's not devaluing Natalia's class in any way. It was actually awesome.
Of course.
I think though, I'm just talking about more of a catalyst, using that as more of a catalyst for learning than just a byproduct of being in the same room as each other.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that for the majority of painters and where they are at, it is not about the spending time with friends. It is about the forcing them to paint for 2 days, because that is when they are going to achieve the most improvement.
So we should preface this with that there is other people teaching, and other people will be teaching very specific skills.
Still waiting for
there'll be some sculpting skills. There'll be some basing skills. So I figured with already covering a lot of the, in front of the brush stuff, I thought maybe doing some behind the brush stuff could be fun, and a great way to break it up.
I'm quite partial to a bit of the old psychology of miniature painting myself. I
was hoping you'd allow me to reference and use the Psychology of Miniature Painting article as a source material in it.
When I did my class, which was admittedly a few years ago now, a big chunk of that article was talked about in that class.
Yeah.
What's in the post, Joe?
Yeah. So a big one that I want to do is also kind of, and this might all not make the same seminar, this might be other stuff too, but I'd love to do one where we take more experienced painters and pair them with more inexperienced painters. sitting side by side, as I think when you have a whole room full of, so if we take Natalia's Melbourne or New South Wales class, you have a whole pool of experience in the room. And I think that you can utilize that experience and create like a pretty awesome learning environment that incorporates not just your own views as someone sort of up the front, but the views of people around you as well. Because there really is just so many ways to skin a cat in this hobby, and it's about actually finding what's right for you. So I thought that maybe pairing people together and trying to create a bit of a symbiotic learning process sort of between those two people would be good, or between people in the class would be good. And then the last one I'd probably like to look at is like the I guess, and you've sort of mentioned this, is addressing the psychology of painting and burnout, and understanding burnout and what you can do as ways to offset it.
I like it. I think that'll be a really interesting and valuable topic for a lot of people, mate. I want to challenge you to make sure you've got a strong content, right? Because I feel like, full disrespect intended, you tend to waffle.
Yeah, of course, but but again, I'm not going to university to learn how to teach. Like, that's what people have to understand about this. I'm also not sitting here saying, "Hey, yo, I'm a qualified teacher" in any way, shape, or form.
The waffle is good in doses, because the waffle is it speaks to your soul. But
yeah, also there's a difference between us sitting here when we're not on the clock versus when you're on the clock.
Yeah.
So I think I can switch it on and off.
I'm confident you can as well, mate.
Yeah.
Look at you. Just, my little fella's all grown up. It's a proud moment, Andrew. It's a proud moment for me.
It is. I thought you were talking about you.
I'm excited. I think that's going to be a really fun topic. And I commend you and Jared and everyone else involved for pushing some different topics. It's very easy to just go and grab the same people and get them to talk about the same things. But what we want to achieve in this community is growth, improvement.
Yeah, and a new way of looking at things, right?
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing is, again, like I don't want to stand out in front of people. I don't even want to stand out in front of people per se, like I am in the same, like I am no different to everyone else in the room. And I would be not practicing what I preach, which is obviously one of those metaphors that I like to use. And I think, you value this metaphor as well about being on the mountain together is,
yeah.
Well then, if we're on the mountain together, let's get on the mountain together, right there with you, not standing out in front of you telling you how it is, but trying to be there with you and experiencing it
pulling
in real
each
time
other up
with you.
Pulling each other up.
Yeah.
The mountain analogy is one of my favourite analogies, right? Because I think it's just it's a real example of cultural phenomenon that we're experiencing at the moment with the immediacy of every part of life. People see the mountain and they go, yeah, I want to be on top of that mountain, but they don't see the climb. They just see the result. And I think one of the strong messages that I'm always trying to preach is you don't think about where you want to get to some extent, but you just need to get in there and take the first step. I cannot express to you how much literally just sitting down and painting has done wonders for me. Like, just sitting down and painting, just feeling excited and painting for a few hours every day for 5 years, and all of a sudden I'm here. And I'm like, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything special. I just sat down and painted. That's it. So
it's a good saying. How do you eat the elephant? Yeah, one spoonful at a time.
One bite at a time. Yeah. In a journey of 1,000 miles, the first step is the hardest, or
Yeah, but I mean, I think again that this is the first. That's the first. That's version one of the mountain metaphor, right?
Yeah.
But I think we've moved on to a few other versions now. We're a little bit further down the track, like, and the one that we used, and found a lot of, like, it really, I guess, stuck with people. The last time we sort of were talking about this is when we did the Kingdom Death painting competition, and we talked about, you know, I guess there might be my words, but it had come from thoughts and conversations that we had had and that you had had on stream before I used to come on as frequently, which is, I love the idea that you have one hand up and one hand down. Yeah.
yeah,
You know, and for those who haven't heard this before, it's one hand up to be pulled up and one hand down to pull others up. And as long as we, you know, are staying in that mind frame, then everyone is perpetually getting better. You know, maybe it's just another take on a rising tide lifts all boats or whatever the case may be, but
fuck, we got some wisdom coming out of us tonight, haven't we? Remember the other?
I sent Dano a message and I said, "Don't worry, we'll be riffing." And he said, "Roger, Roger." And I said, "What did I say to you?" I said,
Okay,
"What did I say?" What was it? It was something stupid or other.
Yeah, Jub was right the other week. She's like, she couldn't handle how much fucking wisdom was in the room when you and I were just chatting.
Yeah, just dropping bombs.
Just bombs, left, right, and centre. No, I love the psychology conversations, mate, because I think, and I'm gonna call out fucking Dingus in the chat, old Darius, where he goes, "I'm gonna throw my brushes away." That right there, in a nutshell, is one of my issues with.
Well, I guess if you throw your brushes away, then I'll throw my investment in you as a person painting, right? Because
the Instagram culture, the social media, and I know it was only a throwaway comment, Darius. I'm not really having a go at you, but you know that's just the culture that pervades everything that I dislike. Right? It's the victim mentality. It's I'll never be good enough. That person's way more talented than me. It's got nothing to do with talent and everything to do with the will, the drive, the effort, the time that you're willing to invest in yourself, in your passion, whatever it is. And you know, I'm so passionate about it because I feel like I am a case study in what I'm talking about. You know, I'm not talented. I wasn't talented when I started picking up a brush. Do I have good hand-eye coordination? Yes. Does that give me a natural advantage over other people? Maybe. But what I've used that for is to drive me to continue to paint and improve and be better. And
your greatest strength is your focus.
Yeah.
You have an indomitable focus,
yeah,
right? On whatever task you decide that you want to do. And you won't be shaken from it. And I would say, as a friend, that even when that focus is detrimental to other things in life at the time, you still won't be shaken.
Yeah.
That's your superpower.
See, you know? Broken marriage. See, etc., etc. That's it, Cujo. That's it. Hand-eye coordination is just a starting point, mate, and it gets better the more you do it. I'm just vehement about it because I think there is just so many people who have the capacity for greatness that they don't believe that within themselves because they think other people have been given more.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely other people have been given more, but that doesn't stop you from...
Create opportunity for yourself, you know? Yeah. Create opportunity is what I would say in that instance.
Because, and I've used this example I think before, but you know, one of the greatest rugby league players we've ever seen was a dumpy-looking fucking crazy little guy from Logan who lives up here in Brisbane, named Cameron Smith. He played the most games of rugby league ever. He captained his country the most times ever. He played for Queensland the most times ever. And he's got a body like a fucking accountant. He succeeded not because of the gifts that he was given, but because of his tenacity, because of his drive. And that's...
Which is what we've been praising Jared for.
Exactly.
You know, over the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to. You know, it's not a one-off slap on the bum, keep going, or that great Key and Peele skit, fucking flap ass, if you remember that one, which is quite fun. You know, we recognise Jared's hard work, and that's something that we both really value in a person, and so you're
Jared,
just highlighting it again here.
For sure, jealousy would play a factor for some people, and envy. You know, those are emotions that I am absolutely open to sharing how I've felt in the past, you know, about seeing other people's work and, you know, just thinking to myself, oh, how do I...
You'd be lying if you don't feel those things. Everyone feels those things. Everyone feels jealousy. Everyone feels envy. Everyone feels shortcomings and fake shortcomings and narratives that are built in their heads.
But I found ways to just put that aside and allow that negative emotion to drive me towards positive things. You know, it's been a fair while since I've felt any jealousy at all towards, you know, Dave as an example. And Dave, fucking hell, used to drive me mental. I'd see his work and I'd just be like, you're just a fucking dog, mate. Like, how do you do that, you dog? And now I look at it, and all I felt when I looked at it today, his piece, was just joy and pride. It's like, you know, this friend of mine has succeeded in improving himself, and I'm just so proud of what he's achieved, and so proud of, you know, the tenacity, and again, that we're coming back to Dave's ability to drive himself. That's what's helped him to succeed. So
and like that, you know, I feel that for a lot of our community here in Australia, you know, a lot of players in the game, I really care about their results and want to see them do well. Because in the end, you know, we are, let's use an online gaming term that has so much wank surrounding it. Yeah.
You love a bit of wankery.
We're an emerging region.
Oh wow. You love a bit of wankery, don't you? You froth on it.
It's the secret sauce that doesn't spoil the broth, mate. I just want to go back through and look at some of the comments from people as well, because I think we missed a couple. Sleepy.
No, you missed a couple.
With hand-eye. We haven't highlighted them. We haven't spoke about them.
You missed a couple, mate. I didn't miss any of them, and I'm also painting.
It is my responsibility to monitor the chat and bring it to the conversation, as Deno would like to think that he can do everything at a perfect...
Mate, I can, but you know what? I read those comments and I go, that's not adding any value.
Well, you know, what have we got here? The Bug King said, I'd argue that talent does have a place in this process. It makes the journey faster, I think, but ultimately effort will outweigh talent in most things. Agree with that. Cujo, you can get better with hand-eye. Yep, that's Sleepy. So this is where we're up to. I think from all the help I looked for from Patreons and YouTube videos or anything this stream, or rather both of you helped me the most, which is crazy considering I spend way less time watching you than, for example, some Patreons or YouTube guides. That's a really nice piece of feedback from you, Sleepy, and what that tells me is that Trent and I are absolute idiots and should monetize afterwards. No, I'm just talking shit.
I'm not. That's good shit. That's good shit.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Podcast coming soon. Join our Patreon.
Yeah. Darius actually ditched social media when I first started, as I just had no idea, and I'm a person who looks to study others. Millionth degree, now I'm comfortable with my skill level, so back to social media. Well, that's a really great thing. This is something that we talk about a lot. Darius is, and this is one of Trent's mantras, and I think something that he anchored a lot of his teachings on his class is, and also the psychology of miniature painting, which is a wonderful article that he wrote 3 years ago, and can I get a link in the chat for that now? You see that? I almost had your script verbatim on that one.
No, say hi to Nat. Hi, Nat.
Hi, Nat. Is Natalia here?
No, not Nat.
Nat. Eva. Eva. Oh,
Eva.
Hey, Nat. How are you? Eva.
Eva.
Hello, Nat. How are you? Did you like that? I was pretty close to your pitch about your your article that you wrote.
You
That was pretty
forgot,
good.
you forgot the self-deprecating humour where you go, whoever wrote that article's a fucking legend. You forgot that
Yeah,
bit, but everything
I forgot
else you
that
got.
bit. I remember that. No, but what you did anchor some of those teachings on, if I remember correctly, was, and I have to remember my thought here because I can be a bit of a space cadet, is knowledge and skill.
Yeah.
And skill translates to practice. So, as you've said, Darius, when you're in a zone of practice, that's the number one thing. You've got enough information or knowledge to then practice. And once you get to a point where that practice is not yielding results anymore, then you need to go on a search for more knowledge. And then cycle back into practice.
And that's my biggest issue with classes, and I think where people go wrong, and why I think classes are valuable, but for not the reasons people think, is because I am telling them to go to a class because they get 24 hours of practice. They think they're going to a class because they're going to get knowledge.
Yes.
So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this piece so far, eh? I feel like it's pretty good.
I like the bottom half. I don't like the top half.
You don't like this orange?
No.
The purple or the orange?
The purple and the orange is fine. I just think it's probably too sketchy right now. Are you gonna break out the airbrush?
Yeah, of course, mate.
Yeah,
Hey, Thomas.
of course. Hey, all mate.
Of course, mate. Am I going to break out the airbrush? Is this a big Deno painting stream or not? How dare
Sorry,
you?
that was very disrespectful of
How
me.
dare
Are you
you?
going to break out Chuck Sprays?
Is Chuck Sprays joining the fucking stream tonight? Is he ever?
the mighty Chuck Sprays.
Old Chucko.
So I made you a pitch tonight. Actually, I said if we do end up getting a podcast off the ground, I pitch. So for everyone who's not been here as long, Trent was a very famous War Machine player, maybe the most famous War Machine player in the world. If you ask him, he would have you know that. Regardless of his shortcomings on the grandest stage of them all. But he did belong to a podcast where they used the song, Give Me a Home Amongst the Gum Trees with lots of plum trees. Now, that was their anthem, and it was quite catchy for what they were, three Australian fellas just getting out playing some War Machine. But I pitched Trent a song tonight. And he hasn't given me. He actually stonewalled me. He gave me nothing back on our chat about this. So I'm going to have to ask him here in person, where he can't dip or duck or dodge. But I think it's a wonderful song choice. What do you think?
I'm passionate about that song, but I'm not passionate about that song for the reasons you are, unless you are also a big fan of the TV show Schitt's Creek. Have you ever?
Of course.
I love Schitt's Creek, and that song is wonderful in that. So,
well, it was also the theme song, and here's one for any sporting fans out there. It was also the walkout song for the very electric and very unique and weird dude that is Christopher Eubanks, who was the light middleweight champion of the world for a very, very long time, an absolute cooked unit. And was a
And it was also the NRL's song for a while too, back in the 80s.
It was, and that's why I thought it was good. Now, I equally thought it'd be just as funny if we could lend upon our wonderful graphic designer friends, because there was a rendition of this done with Tina Turner and Jimmy Barnes. So just like our heads have been swapped before onto many things, what do you think about our heads being swapped onto that as the intro?
Call you when I need you, my heart's on fire.
You are the best. That is correct.
Come to me, wide and wide. Dum. Ooh, get me wrong. Take my heart and make it strong, babe. Give me the best. And it is everything. No, it's not right for us, mate. I love the song, but it doesn't evoke us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider myself.
It's a work in progress. We'll workshop it.
I wouldn't consider myself an egotistical maniac, would you? Don't answer that question.
So, I mean, you have mounted so much strength to the case that this should be the song. Um, commissioning Nosey to do a cover would not be too hard either.
Yeah, we'll just get him on Cameo.
Yeah, we'll get him on Cameo. Actually, we'll just pay him to meet us at. Like, Nosey will just get in his big black car.
Send him a bag. Just send him a bag.
Meet us at CanCon in 2024 and we'll do a recording together.
Just send him a bag. He'll be there.
Yes. Promise him a bag.
Yeah. Nalsy.
Yeah. Yeah. Performed, what did I say? Performed by Chuck Sprays and the Bobby D's. What a band name, by the way.
That is a good band name. I'd be in for that. No, look, I think the song, it has to be one that really evokes imagery that makes you want to paint toy soldiers, right? Because, you know, it's such an important part of painting toy soldiers is the music that inspires you to fucking paint a model, isn't it?
Well, this is true. But I don't think that music's going to invoke everyone. Don't worry, Timbo. This is like the last. You know when you see like roadkill that's kind of been hit and it's like on its way out. It kind of makes a last ditch effort to snap out, and it's.
Oh, good.
This is Deno right now. These are what is it? He's caught the death knell, and this is just the wind escaping his body at this point in time.
Yeah, this is my wizard's death curse that I'm about to lay out. I'm a Barbie girl. Oh no, how does it start?
Yeah.
No, how does it start though?
What is it? I'm a something girl in a fantasy world.
Put me up, put me time, I'm your dolly. Rock and roll,
rock and roll.
The glamour and swing gets me here, touch me there, hanky panky.
Hanky. Yeah.
You can touch,
you can play. If you say I'm always yours.
Yeah. I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Life in plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation. Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Let's go party. Ha, 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 yeah.
Come on,
it's
Barbie,
actually the song. We just need to
party.
ad-lib the words. Unsung from Joey Skynet.
Let's go party.
That's fair, Joey. That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, I'm having so
much
fun.
No, it's not scary at all. I mean, that's a childhood banger.
Yeah, it is an absolute.
We can go deeper than that. We could probably bring out, what was it, Dr. Jones or whatever. We could pull out the whole back catalogue.
Dr. Jones, calling Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, get up now, wake up now.
What a banger. We're 8 seconds from getting on the Vengabus, everyone. Yeah. Fuck, we should do a 24-hour stream today. We would be absolute.
The Vengabus is coming and everybody's pumping. New York and San Francisco and in the city disco, the wheels are still a-turning and everybody's something.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't let the dogs out yet. Critical. Yeah. See, Eva's, is from the same, a little bit, I think a little bit younger than Deno, but I think Eva and I are pretty close in age. So yeah, we would have been, right there. Probably a lot of us in the chat. Who is Big Deno from the two of Aqua? Look, I often get given the more feminine roles, and I'm okay with it, really. I played the feminine role on a wonderful gimmick that we did in 2021, wasn't it? The end of 2021, mate? The Philodendrons gimmick.
No, I
think it was I think it was my head that was plastered all over. What was her name? June? Was it June or?
Yeah, I think the question is actually which one of us is Big Deno, and the answer is.
Okay, well, that's not me.
The bearded man is Big Deno.
That is incorrect.
I would absolutely love to do a 24-hour stream with you, mate.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you though, I did a 6-hour stream, and by the end of the 6-hour stream, I was cooked.
Yeah, you don't have as big a tank as I do. I think when it comes to this sort of stuff.
That is a strong statement from you, but I'm not going to dispute it.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not.
am a bit of an Energizer bunny.
Well, no. You, I can go for a long time,
Yeah,
but what I don't do well for a long time is talking to people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll build it up. Maybe we'll do a 6 hour. We'll see how we go. We'll do a 12 hour. Maybe we'll do it and raise some charity, raise some funds for something.
Yeah. For my air conditioning replacement.
Yes. So Deno now. You need to lose a few keggers anyway, mate, from last memory. So sweating it out under
Can
the
I tell you? Can I tell you?
under the lamps, big dog. Sweating it out under the lamps would be perfect.
Franco, my dad, he signed me up for a touch football team.
Oh, really?
It starts this week on Wednesday. I said, Franco, you know I'm 40. Happy painting, happy day, Wydale. He's like, do you know I'm 40, right? And he's like, yeah, you'll be right, mate. You'll be right. I said, I'm well past my prime, Franco. And he's like, nah, I'll be fine. So I started on Wednesday. So I did some running today. I went for a run.
Yeah.
And I was doing interval training, and I nearly yacked today from doing about 5 minutes of it. So I am in big trouble on Wednesday.
Mig back with the prime.
Oh, thanks, Mig back. Am I younger than you? There you go.
Yeah, you wouldn't have guessed it, critical.
That's an uncalled for statement, Andrew.
Let's get Deno that AC, baby. It is. It's going into winter, so for him, that's going into beautiful, balmy, 24-degree days every day.
It is.
Peak painting season is coming up.
It's going into perfection.
Hey, when does everyone find they get most painting done? In winter or summertime, or just consistent throughout the year?
It's much harder to paint in summer for me. Much harder.
We're more active in summer as well. Like a lot of our events are in summer. It's kind of the celebration time for the hobby, isn't it? And then we go back into our cocoons over the winter period and just jam.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. It probably comes from my work. No, I really struggle, and this is probably not something you have to deal with as much, Bucks, but the weather plays havoc on my palate.
Yeah, I can imagine it would beat up and be not so fun.
Well, I mean, it's not even middle now, and I'll come out to my palate after painting the night before, and my palate will be dry.
Yeah. So are you like you run the same palette for a while, or like I'm a like rip like my I'm a baking paper guy, homemade baking paper guy.
Yeah.
And once I finished with a session, scrap the paper and start a fresh one every time. That's my sort of process. Are you like keep it out for harmony's sake and keep rolling the same one for as long as you can, or?
I will put a paint palette on there, and I will paint until I run out of room on the palette or the palette dries out. I don't feel the need to change it. I don't feel the
you're quite tight in your you're quite splattery like
I'm pretty tight.
Yeah.
My paint doesn't go a lot around.
Imagine coming in that conversation with no context. Imagine no context knows he rocks up on that one.
I'm a bit tight.
Maybe a bit splattery.
When it dries,
keep it pretty tight. I'm
keep it pretty tight. When it dries out, I'm splashing a bit of water in there.
Oh, my brother, my wonderful friend Benny. How are you? I miss you. Ben. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks.
Hello there, Ben. You're a great man. I've really enjoyed tonight's conversations, Andrew, and I do think that we should seriously think about formalising our intent to do a podcast of this nature. However, I assert, as I have before, that if we are going to do that, we need to do it in a visual format, such as what we're doing right now, so that we can talk about models and express ourselves visually. Because,
what about we call the podcast "Behind the Brush" with Deno and Bucks? What about that?
Wow, you are absolutely on a tear tonight with terrible names and terrible song choices. So that's a no from me.
that would fit in the British scene, you know, that'd be real hot in the British scene with the Great British Bake Off. As like, oh mate, can I tell you, right? About 2 years ago, I had this idea. I was like, not just me actually. My good friend Alzi and I had this idea together, right? We thought if tattooing is as popular as it is, and miniature painting is pretty popular, not as popular as tattooing, but pretty popular. We thought, man, if a show like Inked can exist,
Yeah.
then how good would a show be where you host all the best painters in the world, you bring them along, you know, historical painters, contemporary painters, you know, army painters, and you put them in a room to compete where you give them challenges each round, you know, like a competition, you know, to work out who is the brush master. So basically just literally stealing Ink Master's format and then applying it to miniature painting. And we thought we were onto an absolute banger there.
I'd be in for that. I reckon that'd be
Yeah.
good.
How good would that be? That's television right there.
I'd tune in for that, but I don't think many people would tune in for that.
Yeah. So then I ran it past another friend of mine who's much smarter than I am. Very intelligent guy, much smarter than I am. I was really looking for him to just tear me down and say, "This is the dumbest idea you've
I don't recall this conversation.
You don't recall this conversation? And he said, "Well, I think you're onto something here, but fuck, my mic's really close to me. I didn't even notice. Been away. We've just been gabbing so frequently. I'm getting closer to the mic." He said, "I think you're onto something, but Inked is not the way to go. You need to think the Great British Bake Off, the Great Paint Off." And I thought, yeah, you know, he's probably onto something there. And then, you know, nothing comes of it. And then 2 weeks ago, Chris Peach, who's one of the X Games Workshop studio painters and was the Warhammer TV guy, Peachy. Yeah.
Peach.
He's now on a channel, the Painting Phase, and they did a whole episode about how cool it would be to do the Great British Bake Off as a painting event. And I'm sitting there thinking, motherfuckers,
this is Daenerys, mate.
You have infiltrated my brain and stole my idea, and now it's going to happen. And then I was sad.
Well, who have you got to blame for this, mate?
Chopped Under Plastic did an episode of that ages ago. Yeah, but like, come on, Deno and I have way more charisma than Ninus and Nunes and Scott. You know. And quite frankly, if you put us in a room together, I'm backing us to come out on top.
Yeah. Can I just tell you, I've never forgiven them for doing a fucking episode on giant dioramas, and I did not even rate a mention. I sent Ninus a message, and I was like, "Mate, are you fucking for real? You are a dog." Because they talked about me a heap in.
Scott. They said they commented about your compliments to Moses.
Yeah.
But they didn't include you. You've not been included on one of Miniac's hobbyist, you know, creators and painters that inspire me videos, have you?
Not yet.
Maybe we need to get him on the channel and have a chat to him about that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Would everyone like that if we get Miniac on the channel and just have a little chin wag, maybe press him a little bit on his choices? I mean, would he be able to fit us into his I'm sure he's got an incredibly busy schedule.
I got a lot of pull, mate.
You do. You are very famous. And as Diane, my wonderful mother, likes to say, I'm very busy and important.
I am, yes. All right, let's zoom out. I don't know. I feel good about that. Don't you?
What's the orange? Can you explain to me what it is?
Let me answer that for you by putting him on this.
Is it crab shell?
It's crab shell, mate. It's crab shell.
So she wears the very thing she rides. That's savage. She breaks the crabs in. Not sure Miniac will be able to handle the Australianisms.
Of course he will.
Yeah.
He loves Big Deno. Alright. I'll zoom out a bit further. This guy turns like this.
Yeah, nice take on Scorpio. It's not been done in these sort of colours, so I think that's good. He's kind of like his armor does look actually. I know a lot of people have painted Scorpio like super warm
Fish
in
scale.
deserts, but he's got fish scales, right? He's
Yeah.
got like a real Myrmidon sort of Nautilus vibe.
Yeah.
You're simply the best.
Bam, bam, bam. Better than all the rest. Alright, I actually really like the palette and I like how it all looks, but it just needs a lot of refining, and I'm not really sure I've got the fucking juice for that. So
No?
no, not right now. I'm gonna pull this.
I mean, you're really letting us down, mate, as two Piscesians.
I
You
know.
know, like
No,
it's
three.
supposed to be us.
Three, Jared's.
Jared. Yeah,
Jared's
Jared's
here
here,
as
I
well.
should say. So who's who of the three Piscesians here? And Shotgun not being the crab. The crab? Jared's the crab? Love it.
No, mate. I'll tell you, I have not forgiven John for that fucking absolute disgrace. Because they
It wasn't
both,
John, it was Miniac.
yeah, they both messaged me about the fucking diorama Camelot, and they were like, "Man, that's the fucking best."
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then,
but you didn't get a feature.
and then they dogged me on the fucking diorama episode.
Oh, yeah, true.
Fucking dogs.
Yeah, and then they said they accidentally just forgot you, yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty tough to be an afterthought, you know?
Thanks, mate.
You're not an afterthought to me, mate.
Thanks, mate. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you right now, not them.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, Cooch, trapped under plastic.
Shall we create an alternate podcast called Down Under Plastic?
That could work.
Yeah.
That could be good. And we'll just rehash their topics that they talk about each.
We will take their topics and we will take the opposite stance to everything they say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be good. Could be good.
Yeah. You can get some fake piercings, like, and put them on, and I'll get a pair of glasses, and we'll see if we can stir them up into a hangout. That'd be good fun.
I don't think it would take much. Those guys would love to hang out with us, mate.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about both of those two dudes, they're just fanboys of the fucking hobby, right?
They're passionate guys, you know.
So, you know, you get an opportunity to put them against one of their heroes, mate. They'll jump on that.
Yeah. I didn't know they know of me.
Good response. Good response. Well played. Well played. I like it.
Have some cans of Mountain Brew and some what is it? What's the Code Red? Is that it? Code Red.
Oh, who knows?
Very good. Yeah, Benny. We're out here riffing tonight.
What's
You have to
that?
go back and give the rest of the stream a bit of a listen to. We've had some very deep and topical conversations about things very close to our heart.
There's another Scottish guy I used to know in War Machine. His name was Billy Crookshanks. And,
Oh, what a name!
yeah, he's a fucking mad dog. And he used to love Earn Brew, which is like IRNBRU, which I think is some sort of Scottish drink. But he was always banging on about it. What is it, Cooch?
Could you be able to tell us?
Yeah, what is it, Cooch? Earn Brew.
Iron Brew. Oh, Iron Brew. Oh, yeah, I know Iron Brew. Isn't that in New Zealand as well? Benny, can you ask Storm if that's in New Zealand? I'm pretty sure it is. I think it gets exported to New Zealand. It's also in Ireland as well. Yeah, it's orangey soft drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so can I bring something on?
Yeah.
So I want to do a little shout out. First off, I can't shout out one without the other. So shout out to Jared for getting me this awesome model for my birthday last month.
Oh, yes.
Chris,
Oh,
yeah, you absolute
nice.
legend. This is beautiful.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
going to paint the shit out of this. But Yana, my lovely wife, the lovable Jub, she had Natalia track down an out of production model that I've really wanted for a long time.
What is it?
I'm very excited to have. So I'll give you a little bit of a story on this model.
Hang on.
There's a little hobby shop.
Cam on? No, we haven't got Bucks Cam on. Bucks Cam's not working.
We don't have Bucks Cam.
Hang on.
I'll just put it up.
All right. We won't go to Bucks. Okay. Proceed.
Where was I? Yeah. So the story of this is that it was sitting on a random hobby shelf in Poland, not a very well known hobby shop over there, I believe. And so Natalia and Jub worked together to bring this one over to me. And it starts with a little bit of this here.
Ooh.
So for everyone who's been in the game for a while, they'll know what this is. But if you haven't, then this is a
well, I know what it is, but I don't know which one
Knights model. This is a collectible model that is no longer available as they do not make these anymore.
I think this is the one we have. 10.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
There you go.
Yes, the mighty Thor.
There you go.
Mjolnir, to me.
Yeah. So how cool is that? So thanks, Jub and Natalia. And I should probably say thanks Pavel in there as well, because I'm sure he probably had a hand in the process too. Knowing Natalia.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
That's nice. I don't have anything cool like that, because Natalia's just dropped me like a fucking stone after the trip. She hasn't spoken to me once. She's had nothing.
Hasn't she? She's not very good at talking to anyone really, mate. So don't take that personally. It takes me a month to get a response from her.
Don't worry, mate. I don't take anything personally, because I don't have any feelings. But
no, you are the Tin Man. If I only had a heart. No, she doesn't do social media. She's not very good at it.
Yeah, it was a joke, man. I'm not really at all concerned.
No.
One of the cool things is if I saw Natalia at Monty or whenever again, I'm sure we would have a big hug and have a wonderful time and a chat.
Yeah.
And I'll probably not speak to her again for another 12 months.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
She is. She's really good at painting. There's a very unique sort of perspective on painting.
I am not a softie, Ben. Fuck you. I'm hard and ruthless, mate.
Your ruthless aggression? Word life? John Cena.
You remember when the John Cena, like, what was it, Vine? Remember Vine?
Yeah.
So John Cena was just
and his name is John Cena.
And it's John Cena. I fucking was obsessed with that. Used to love it. John Cena.
I think I really need another cup of tea. Yeah, cool, Cujo. Which one you got? I got one of hers as well, mate. Actually, I feel like you might have got one that I wanted. I think you might have done it. I got to hit her up because she was like, I want to give you the frog. You know the frog she did?
Yeah.
One of Zabba's? Yeah, she's like, do you want it? I want to give it to you. She took my little robot, did I tell you that?
Oh, the little guy in the
little
bushes.
set robot, yeah.
I liked that. That was good.
I'll be back.
Alright.
I'm going to go drop an elbow on Jub.
That's The Rock, mate. Different person, but given that it's a wrestling reference, I'll allow it. So I hope everyone's enjoyed the stream tonight. Andy and I have been tossing up the idea of doing a podcast, and for me to put together some sort of Patreon or something for people that want to support the channel. I'm a bit hesitant to do that, and my hesitation comes from I don't really need it. If if you know what I mean. And I'd much rather people who have disposable income throw that money towards painters who are out there trying to actually survive, like Cujo, for example. So that's one side of the coin. The other, though, is, and this one's something we've talked about a little bit on stream. You know, we are undervaluing the stuff that we provide, and by providing it for free, we're also potentially harming those painters who are out there trying to make a living by doing something for free. It's not an easy one to solve for.
No, it's not, because I think we're at our core, we just want to have some fun and maybe provide something, and you know, if people enjoy that, they enjoy that, right?
And the third part of it is also the moment that you monetize something is it becomes a job, becomes a function. You have to do something. You're obligated to do something, and I never want to feel like I'm obligated to do this. So.
Well, I think the pushback to that one is that maybe we're finding our niche, my friend. Maybe our niche is not necessarily to provide specific painting content. That's something we could do. I think we have the skill set to be able to do that. But maybe it's all the stuff that goes around it that people enjoy. I mean, having a duet, Simply the Best, followed by Barbie Girl into a little Dr. Jones ensemble. I mean, that's got to be worth the price of admission.
Yeah, definitely it isn't. But we're what was interesting about the success of the War Machine podcast I had, which is a wonderful podcast called Oz Machine, for those that remember that back in the day. Probably.
Can you roll Camelot? Can you roll Camelot at this point while also plugging your article, please?
Can I ever? So when I was back in the War Machine days when I did Oz Machine, you know, it was a wonderful time, and I also wrote an article called The Psychology of Miniature Painting, which you can find a link in the chat. Scroll back a little bit, I'm sure it's there.
We need to create a link tree for this.
We probably do a lot of stuff, but I don't do any of it. No, what made that podcast, that thing, successful was actually nothing to do with the content. Now it obviously was a little bit to do with the content, right? We talked some good shit, and I think maybe early on that is what built our brand to the point where people were like, I want to listen to these guys. But people stayed because of the personalities, because of the fun that we used to have, and because of the fresh perspective that we had on the game.
It's all about the times you've had and the times you're going to have. Is that what you're saying?
Most people are out there, can feel when it's just about the money, or can feel when this is about something other than fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we used to really push. We used to push fun and playing hard and playing fair and playing in a unique way that really resonated for a lot of people. So,
I've just for everyone at home, I've experienced firsthand playing hard, having fun, and playing fair. It was a 16-2 victory to Trent Denizen in a game of Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm not sure I'd call it a game, as more of a life lesson in... a
lesson in humility.
In humility. Continue.
Yes. When how nice did I do this robe, by the way? That's just a really nice looking robe.
You know, the robe, you've painted this model really, really good.
Yeah.
You've painted it lovely.
Yeah.
It's just not a great model.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. But it's great.
It's not a bad model.
But you know,
it's not a great model.
The thing that I've enjoyed is just this. The actual, all of the elements are so nice to paint. So maybe that's the thing. It's an ugly model, but every individual element just feels so nice to put together.
I can really. I know we had a little chat earlier in the night where I paid you some kudos for where you're at, but I can feel the passion in your painting again right now, mate.
Oh,
You're hitting some strides.
I just feel like I'm doing some nice stuff and enjoying it. So
Yeah, the fish scales are really nice. The glittery stuff. It's like glittery scales, isn't it?
yeah,
I did the same method myself actually on a one of the very few busts that I never finished and ended up bathing, which was a Pirion. And I did a very similar technique on the side of her cheek for glitter, and Trent told me it looked like utter horseshit. And then he's gone and just deployed the exact same technique.
does mine look like utter horse shit? No, it does not.
No, it doesn't.
And there is the difference, mate. If you're gonna do something,
Look at the size of the teacup that Jub has brought me.
good on you, Jub.
This is a woman who understands my needs. This is how we get through a 24-hour stream, by the way.
I wish she understood my needs a little bit more, mate. That's all I'm gonna say.
She's not a type, I don't think, mate.
Yeah, she doesn't go for robots, eh?
No. My love language is tea. That Timbo, you are on, mate. That is very true. Tea, and for my close friends playing at home, they would say warm cordial.
So, as we draw to a close,
I was counting down in my head how long that would take to get a trigger from Benny Boy.
young Ben, what my love language is? Well, that's an easy question to answer.
Words of affirmation. The big dog just loves to be told how big and dog he is.
No, my love language is leave me the fuck alone.
If I was a gambler man, I would say it'd be words of affirmation and physical touch.
I would say that you are a very, very wise gambling man.
Yeah. Oh, Joey, can I tell you something? So, everyone knows a little bit of shepherd's pie, right? Everyone's had a bit of shep in their time.
Yeah.
Cottage pie, shepherd's pie, different names, different strokes for different folks. But Yana mixed it up this week. She changed the way she did the potatoes on the top of the shepherd's pie. She gave them a slice and then kind of crusted them, like crisped them with a
Bit of Parmesan.
cheese. Yeah, so that it kind of looked like rolling sort of, no, not rolling, more like jagged, mountain shards. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. But she slipped a whole bunch of Vegemite into the mix for the meat, and my God, it was on fire. And I'm not a Vegemite guy, but mate,
a lot of people like to use Vegemite in place of salt because Vegemite also has the umami. This is my master chef. This is my master chef coming out. Vegemite is a bit of a banger, mate. It's a bit of a banger.
It is. It's quietly on point, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it can
Hi,
be.
Matthew. How are you?
It can be indeed. All right. I am.
Nigel Matthew, you can call me Cornade Andrew if you'd like.
You can call me Slanesh Dene. Nat knows what's up.
Nat is coming in hot, passionate Nat with just F-bombing solid. Yeah. All might, if you would like some feedback, we'd be happy to provide you some feedback, mate. Is it the same model we provided feedback on last time? And is it finished? If it's the same model, it'll need to be finished. If it's a new model, then we're good to go. No, yeah, you're right. It's a new model, sure. You'll need to send it to Deno on Insta as he handles the
everything.
He handles everything side of the stream.
He handles
I'm just
everything
here for my charm and good looks.
Deno handles everything, is what you're trying to say.
Not quite everything.
The personality. Oh shit! It's my turn in thingy. I better play.
Very similar, Cujo. Very similar. has the same response. People use that as a saying now, eh? They're like, it's the Marmite of whatever. Either love it or you hate it.
All right. Hopefully, no one declared a war on me, you dogs.
Do we do critiques as well? Yeah, we do feedback, Critical Paint. We do quite in-depth feedback. We do painting on the stream. We do, we're pretty much like the Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen of miniature painting, really. And I'll let you figure out who the Michael is in the partnership. Yeah, we can provide a lot. Or a little, depending on whether you value what we say.
Anybody know where I came from?
Handy Andy, mate. Let you know if what's too much. Having a cheeky swear word every now and again. Be Australian if we didn't slip a few fucks into the.
Don't worry. Don't worry about swearing on the Big Dog stream. Big Dano gets in there amongst it, but I do drop the C-bomb off the list of approved words. So
yeah, the C-bomb has been removed, and I think it's about tasteful swearing. I find it incredible. So when I see YouTube content and they're swearing in YouTube content, I hate it. Hey, I just find it to be so jarring and unnecessary. But in a live stream where you're kind of just having a gab, if a cheeky swear word slips out every now and again, that's all right.
This is not working the way that you've sent these photos, All Might, on my computer, so I can't bring these up on the stream at the moment. Because of the way that it's working. Can you try sending in just one individual photo, please?
Have we found our calling here? Don't know. Like Timbo's thrown in, we toss out a bit of life advice. It's a full bag.
I like to think of my niche in life is being the spiritual life coach for miniature painters. I think that's my real passion in life, is combining what I learned in my work with what I learned in my hobby, and just really punishing people for their shit life choices like Timbo, right? Just really, really diving deep and telling them they're absolute peanuts. That's worked better, thank you, Thomas.
I think Timbo has learned a valuable life lesson tonight.
Lockie is bang on there. Fucking hell! We had one of the best nights of my life over in Germany, for the Warhammer ETC. We had some absolute classics.
Did you do this?
No.
Did you? Oh, okay,
no.
cool.
It's a callback to a pickup line. It's very, very. It was one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. That's not the right one. This one. Here we go.
There we go. Did I ever tell you about the time we kidnapped a German guy in England?
No, but I would like to hear that story soon.
I'll make sure I have to tell you that one.
All right, so we got some photos here for
Scotland. Actually, it was in Scotland, not England. It was in the William Wallace.
In the big monument.
In the pub.
There you go.
Underneath the monument.
All right, so
Scotland.
Thomas, I'll start with a couple of pieces of generic feedback. Your photos are bad. They're out of focus. They're overexposed. And it's really hard to give you a good quality critique when your models are bad. So your photos
This
are
is
bad.
the same thing we opened with last time with.
And at some point, I will just say no more because the photos are bad.
To improve your photo, mate, take it, get your lamp, face it down at your desk, put like a white piece of paper behind it or a black piece or whatever. Probably white is the easiest, or grey, and just take a photo with your phone 30 centimeters away and then make adjustments as you need to in your post Photoshop. That should really help with the photo, mate. yeah, use 2 lights, as Cujo said, to eliminate shadows.
The positive things I will say about this piece, I do feel like you're improving in terms of your placement of highlights, in terms of the colours that you're introducing. As always, value contrast continues to be the challenge. You need to increase the value, light to dark, across pretty much every element. This is going to look pretty grayscale if you were to put it into grayscale. It's going to look all the same. I would also say there's probably a little bit too much roughness of texture in the actual paint itself. So I think probably dry brushing would be my guess. I think you can use dry brushing as a tool, as a technique, but it should be intentional. It should be contributing something to what you're trying to do, and I don't know that that is the case in this instance.
And if you like dry brushing and want to learn a little bit more about it, to throw back to the start of the stream, like swing over, I think Artis Opus, they do a whole bunch of stuff on dry brushing over there.
Yep.
Even I have picked up a couple of things about dry brushing that I wasn't aware of. Using a moist brush and a moist palette for dry brushing is a bit of a new thing, but it seems to be yielding some pretty good results and can help with the chalkiness. I think it reduces that dusty sort of chalky feeling. So I don't have too much extra to add on the feedback front for this one. I think Dano's covered it pretty well. And I think I might have zoned out, so if I repeat something you've said, let me know. I think the only thing, maybe choosing a light source, and then thinking about how that light is impacting the whole model, is pretty important too.
First question I ask: where is the light source? Every time. All right, it's good. It's good. We do offer feedback at any time for anyone.
Jared, could you send us? Can I pull up the? Can you send me the latest photo, if you're still with us, of your piece that we looked at last week? Let's have a look at some of the changes you've made on stream. Because we gave you an 11 out of 10, and a part of an 11 out of 10 is some follow-up feedback. If
I'll just challenge you. I didn't give 11 out of 10, mate. I was pretty calm.
Yeah, I mean, you told him. You just said it's flat out bad.
That's not an 11 out of 10, mate.
That's just how you deliver the language.
That's just a 5. That's just a 5 for Big Dano.
Well, I think our audience felt that it was a 10. If you would go back and look at the chat, because we'd given Scaro 7, and we were much more scathing on Jared than we were on Scaro. So
I haven't gone 10 on anyone. I don't think.
No. Oh, I think I've seen you go 10. I saw you go 10 on a fella when I first started coming to the stream, and this will be a throwback. I'm not sure if the fella still comes to the stream or not.
Probably not.
But he was painting like a shark thing, and I think he was sending you for feedback almost every single stream, and
that was
nothing
Joe.
had changed on it.
No, that was Joe Skynet. He definitely has been coming back to the stream multiple times.
No, that wasn't Joe.
That was Joe Skynet, guaranteed.
No.
Andy, do you really want to challenge me on this memory?
Was it really Joe?
It was 100% Joe.
No, he's saying who? Like question mark. I don't think it was Joe. At all. But I could be wrong.
Did you do a shark model on a pier with like pencils for the pier, and you sculpted the rocks? Heresy for heretics. Let me answer the question, because it's a good one. There's a rule I like to apply. It's called the rule of cool. I'm sure it was you, Joe. I'm gonna fucking...
Nah, it wasn't Joe. Joe is a much more accomplished hobbyist. This was like a beginner hobbyist.
All right. I'm going to go back and find it.
Yeah. But you remember what I'm talking about, right? He got a 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I smashed him.
You gave him a 10.
Do you know why?
Jared's chucked up.
Because I was sick of him sending me the same fucking picture and expecting me to come up with different things to say. I was like, no, mate, just... I'll critique one of your pieces when it's finished or when it's close to finished so that you can have some stuff to work on. But I'm not here to fucking pander to your ego and just do shit for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jared. I like this. But what I don't like...
Have a look at those stairs. That is working.
Yeah, the stairs are working, but the columns are not. It's very, very simple, right? It's a perspective issue. You have painted the columns there at a different perspective to the column that you've got there. If you are looking at columns from the same angle as you're looking at this one, the lines should be consistent with that column, or even, you know, the lines, the shape of the column is going the wrong direction, mate. Like the blocks. It's so jarring to me right now when I look at it, because I see this column, which is beautifully painted, by the way, and no doubt inspired by my wonderful piece from Mindworks Games that I did, where I did a wonderful orange column. Thank you very much.
That was one of your bangers of 21.
That was a good one, eh?
That was a good one, but this isn't about you. It's about.
It's always about me, mate. It's my stream.
About the beloved JC. Just quickly, Joey, 100%. I could have said, I could have called that.
I'm fucking.
I know that it was the Terminator. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to smash him so hard because I've got a memory like an absolute elephant.
Fuck.
But I didn't want to bury him too hard. So
thank you, mate. I appreciate
and he did the reflective chromey sort of style, if you remember it. It had the cords coming out of it and stuff. It was really big. He took it to Monty or maybe SMC.
I remember the Terminator. Anyway.
So I agree with everything you've said, but if we're treating this as a piece that we're having input on and rolling on through, the adjustments that you've made so far are all working in your favour.
Concur.
Now, before you made those adjustments, I made a suggestion to you when I saw the piece on the base, and that was to just rip the whole background off. And part of me, regardless of you making the changes to the steps, still may feel that would be the best option if you want the best looking piece. However, it's not always about the best looking piece. We preach it's about the journey, and I think the journey is in painting backgrounds and all the lessons you can learn in that. So I think you've got to stick it out because of that. But I think if you are going to have to stick it out, you are absolutely going to have to change what Deno just said. There is a problem with the scale of the pillars. They're too big compared to the one at the front. They need to be thinner, and they need to be mimicking the nature of the pillar that is in three-dimensional form. If you remove the column from the base of that pillar,
no, because the column's the best bit. Hang on, which one are you talking about? The column,
the three section. It's the section where you've got it's the top part of the front one that's not working.
It's the whole front one in general, and the back one. The back ones don't look cylindrical because you haven't got the right angle. You just need to. You need to look at the column and replicate the same perspective in the background. Well, I don't know that thinning the column is necessary. I think it might help a little, but I think it's more about, if you look at that column, the line, there's a very slight convex. You need to replicate that convex on all of them. That might be the wrong one. It might be concave, but I'm pretty sure depends on your perspective. Is someone ringing you, Bucks?
No, I think it might be All Might messaging me. Someone's blowing me up on Instagram, right?
Story of your life, pal.
Well, as Daisy likes to put it, I'm becoming very busy and important in my own lunchbox, maybe. Can you scroll down to the rest of the base? So I think there's some like the
the rest of the base
You
is
can't?
fine. The rest of the base
yeah
is
yeah
fine.
yeah yeah. But there were some changes made from last week.
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
to
that's
now.
all fine.
Yeah.
I think the gold medal is probably too much for that spot, personally. But
At the front,
yeah,
yeah, you could swap that to a silver or even just keep it stone.
yeah, or add some add some of the green that you've got on the column. I think would help in that area. But I don't know. I like the piece, Jared. I think it's good.
Keep working at it. Yeah.
And yeah, when we're being critical here, it's because there's real potential in this one. But the problem with stretching yourself is if you don't land it, it's just really really noticeable, and you feel it's a long way off. And that's sort of how I feel about this at the moment. It's a long way off, and it shouldn't be because there's a lot of wonderful elements. But yeah, this is just dragging you down.
So we back to being focused on miniatures now. Thanks for sharing that one, pal. Also, one of our friends, Liam, finished a piece this week. Finished his Utah. What did you think of that one?
To my honest opinion,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it in person, actually, and probably a great little motivator if you're thinking about getting along to the Sydney show in July. Is that I think Dave's bringing his latest piece, by the way, to that event. I think he'll still have it. So
I did not.
And as I spoke to him today, he said he's planning on being there. So I'm very excited.
I didn't like Liam's latest piece.
But who's that?
No. He posted a work in progress shot, and I was like, "Oh, this is really promising. A lot of cool concepts." And that's where I feel like it stopped. I don't feel like he pushed the concepts as far as he could. I felt like it just sort of looks exactly the same as a work in progress shot to me.
So if I may say something, and again, I do this a lot. I'm not trying to speak for Liam in any way, as I don't know Liam's thoughts, but I feel a little bit of kindred to Liam right now, as I think we both received some similar feedback around, or maybe the feedback itself was different, but the underlying message was there. I think we received a similar vibe from our efforts at Crimson Brush, and I both think right now the trying new things. And pushing in areas that you're not as strong in, pushing out of your comfort zones is probably prevalent in both works. So I give him a pat on the back for that, because Liam is an incredible painter. And it's very easy when you're really good at something to just keep doing the thing you're very good at. But trying new things is the only way to get better. So
agree.
Yeah.
Agree. I don't have any more info, Mig, back, but the person to speak to is in the chat. It is Jared, who is probably the only person who is actually going to make that happen. Don't trust a Seb. Seb's wonderful when you put him in a room and say, "Seb, talk about toy soldiers." He's wonderful, just wonderful. But fuck, Jared's the guy you need to get shit
Seb
done.
messaged me to organise everything.
Jared's the guy when you need to get shit done, mate. Trust me. I can absolutely feel why you're not about this model, Bucks. I can feel it.
I just think, it's there's nothing about it that's great.
What I think is great about it is the sculpt is unique. And
yeah, sure. I mean, like, I should say, when we say this, like, it's pretty harsh, and it's not designed to make the sculptor, feel like shit. That's something that they've put their time and effort into. But we can only measure it against the things in its field, and particularly with Kickstarters like this, where there's 12 or 14 models. How many is in this one, my friend?
It's 13 in this one.
13. There's going to be ones that are just naturally better, and other well, there are going to be ones that rise and others that fall. And for me, this is probably one of the ones that falls.
I completely agree that it was a miss in the Kickstarter, in context of the Kickstarter, but it has grown on me. It's actually really enjoyable to paint, and that is, a measure in and of itself.
Yeah, I love the idea of Naga. Like, this is clearly inspired by Naga, like from the Warcraft days. Like, feels like it anyway. Like Naga Siren.
Post it, Migback. Post it, mate. If you post it, that
why don't I like it? I just nothing is grabbing me about this piece at all. Like, I kind of like the part I like the most is the front of the serpentine body and the pearls that are there. That's it, and that's like not saying a lot, is it? I find the face to be bland, the frills to be doing nothing for me. The orb is like an orb, but it's got like I'm a bit of a stickler for when people do effects in their sculpting, and I'd criticize a lot of Marvel's sculpts for like all of these effects, that the MCP sculpts that they do, like with these effects, these whirling, swooshing effects that just they're not fun to paint at all. The staff top is not really inspired to me. It's kind of a whatever. I like the robes and I like the tail. Like the tail fin thing is cool, but yeah. I mean, and I think Dano's chosen good colours for it, but it's just not. I'd like to see the box art. Maybe the box art would help change my perspective a little bit, but no, for me, it's a no.
The box art was a Rober, actually. And
was it?
Yeah. And it actually wasn't one that I loved of the Robers, but yeah.
It's comfortably the second best on the third best model on this piece, and it's the sixth best model, seventh best model, sixth best. Yeah,
no, it's
the ones we've seen so far.
It's probably ninth best on the Kickstarter.
I'm just saying, like, that we've seen you do so far of the ones you've done.
Oh right, okay.
I don't like the one riding the crab. I like the crab. I don't like the one riding the crab. I don't like that one more than I don't like this one. But also, I'm probably quite critical of. This is a Radier, isn't it?
No.
No? Who is it?
Scale 75.
Scale 75. Oh, yeah. Well, ignore that comment then. I've been critical of a Radier in the past. Or Aridea, however you like it.
What is the intent of this figure, Migback?
Gaming piece? It feels like a very, very, very good gaming piece to me. What do you think? It's for a commission, display/gaming.
Yeah, I think that is the vibe that I get from it, yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I like it. It's a cool piece. It's it's a lot of gold, a hell of a lot of gold. I'm sure. Is it it's Wonder Woman?
Yeah, it's Wonder Woman 87.
Yeah.
I feel like you need something cold.
Mm-hmm. Change the rocks. Maybe if you want to add some purples and blues into the rocks that you've got there, the grey ones, like push that colour and saturation a little more, and that will help offset her.
Thing is, you're a very good painter, Migback, and the Glorfindel that you did was a wonderful execution of non-metallic metals, and I feel like this is a fine example of non-metallic metals, and yeah, I can feel this is not you pushing yourself to be your best, but it's still a very creditable attempt. But if you want me to, go ham, I can, but I just don't think there's any value in doing that because it's not what this is about.
Yeah, I just want to challenge going ham on anything that's gaming, or even like if in small scale that is not for like Golden Demon, I think it's pointless. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and it's the value that you're going to get out of that is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
But it's a good piece. How I feel is that the greens in the base are just a little bit too harmonious with her. I would add some cold flowers, like some white flowers or purple flowers or something, just cold, just to break up a little bit and create some little visual interest. Just something small, right?
If it was what could you have done differently? I think that not using greens on the base and using colder stuff on the base would have done better for this piece in general.
Because cold colours recede, warm colours advance, right? So what you've got here is a problem of both the base and her are sort of trying to come forward. And you would have been better off trying to put more focus into her and just have the base a bit big. And the reason I say that is because the model is very much pointing towards the base, right? Everything about the flow of the model draws you into the base.
Yeah, her wings are pointing at it, literally.
Yeah, and so what's happening is you're getting this visual guide to draw you into the base, and that's not where we want you to be looking. You've probably also exacerbated that by putting the dark colours closer closer to her face, and maybe you needed to have really bright highlights around that part of the wings, and then her dark hair, which is a sharp contrast to the gold wings, and then her face, which is a sharp contrast to the black, right? So you got light, dark, light, really close and tight. As it is, you just got a lot of dark together, and the hair's getting lost. You know, the face is the only part that stands out there. But again, you know, I could overanalyze, but it's a fine piece.
The reason also, mate, the reason why your purples and blues are not coming through on the grey is because you finished it with the green mossy stuff on the top, which is completely nullifying those colours apart from in that one little spot on the left hand side lower parts.
You're a good painter, dude. You probably need to
just keep pushing. Yeah.
Well, you probably need to set out and understand your goals. Like, what is it that you're trying to achieve? Because you don't need people to tell you, hey, this is a good display piece versus, it's a good gaming piece. You know that. What is your goal? What is it that you want to achieve? And what do you need to do to get to that goal? And that should be the types of projects that you're pushing yourself into, is really things that are going to further you towards your goal. Because you are not lacking technical capability. Here is
how long are we going for? We're going to wrap up, shall we?
Yeah, we're wrapping up, mate. It's 3 hours on the dot. So
sure.
Look at that. It's coming out all right.
Did we want to revisit any Golden Demon stuff from last week at all, or shall we leave that for another time?
No,
because there's been some interesting developments around Golden Demon. There's been some videos made. Some people have popped off on their opinions on it.
Shan't be discussing it.
Sure, we'll save it for another time.
Well, I started this one on...
Let me answer that one for you, mate. 5 to 15 hours on this one, Timbo. Somewhere between.
That is absolutely bang on. Last Monday I did Capricorn. Nothing was built on this base last Monday.
No.
So Tuesday, I think I put together the base. Or no, Tuesday I finished assembling the models. Wednesday I put together the base. And Thursday I started painting her. I didn't do anything on Saturday. Then yesterday I did him on stream, and I did the majority of the painting of the base. So it's probably 10 hours.
Are you going to be using some water effects at the front?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I think we'll go quite an aqua-coloured water too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. It would.
Yeah, really, really deep.
Hey, I picked up the AK diorama book over the weekend.
Oh, the yellow one?
Yeah, finally got it.
How good is it, eh?
Yeah, it's really good.
It just makes you want to do scale modelling. It
Yeah, it's going to sharpen us up for QMHE maybe,
Ooh,
or even
looking
Melbourne.
forward to it.
If
Looking
we
forward to
make it up. We got a bit of travel under our belts for this year. So
yeah, Sydney. Should probably start looking at flights soon because it's only
we should
2 months
sort
away.
that out.
And some ACOM. Are we doing ACOM together? I think is that our plan or
Acon, is that the
accommodation pal?
Oh, Acom, yeah, something like that. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's about 400. About 400 each.
400. Yeah, I mentioned Tiana and she was just go. I need to make sure the soundproof. The walls are soundproof because you can rattle down a picture frame if you get going. You got a good snore, mate.
I do go hard on the snoring.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I should. Just
Do you know? I think
I might just get a hotel.
After seeing all the fun of the Adepticon, I think we might have to go, man, at some point.
I've done a couple of big American cons specifically, but I've never done Adepticon. I wouldn't mind. I'd be open to it.
You can do 3 different painting comps in one weekend. You can do the Resin Beast. You can do Marvel. You can do Golden Demon.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't go to compete. I don't think that's the event. I might go for the Marvel MCP one and drop something in there, but
yeah.
No,
I think it should just be fun to do, man. It looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a very fun con to go to.
I had a wonderful time at the Lock and Load Privateer Press conventions. They were just wonderful experience. And America's, 2011 America was wonderful to visit. I don't know that
2023
is as exciting to visit, maybe.
Well, the thing of it for us is it's an hour and a half's flight from Minnesota. And so we would just go straight. We would either do it at the Adepticon part at the front or the back, and then we would fly into Minnesota and basically just live at the Target Center watching as many ball games as we possibly could.
Yeah.
I would be doing my best to keep Yana out of the locker room.
You would. She'd go ham in there.
She would. Nice. Look at this. It's coming together.
Yeah, I think it works. And
so are they all going to connect?
Maybe. Here, I'll take this off so you can see.
If they do, you're going to have to ooze a little bit of each one into the other. Right?
Well, that's exactly what I've done. Yeah. So you can. I'll just rejig my light so you can see this one. I'll turn Bucks's face off. So.
Yeah, cut me out. I will just say that with them all being paired together, it's making me like the Pisces much more.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
I reckon it's working. Yeah. So what I've tried to do is connect the colours a little bit here. So there's a little bit of this red in this, a little bit of the red earth colour.
Yeah, and a little bit of teal.
Yeah. So.
Are you using powders and pigments at all?
No. I'm using the same plants. From here to here. So, this plant
just lots of wet blending for the base, yeah.
Yeah, and contrast paints, mate.
And contrast paints, yeah. Oh, the airbrushing or
both.
Hand application?
Both. This matches this, which is happy coincidence. I do feel like we need something more here. A tree, maybe.
No, it's a pillar, if you can get one in.
Don't think I can fit a pillar. We're going to do some water effects down here. Jarrod. So that'll be cool. This guy's turned out a little bit more.
Hello, Weetabix.
Hello, Weetabix. Yeah.
No. Keep on it, mate. Some good.
Yeah, sort of out of nowhere, hey. Just suddenly started doing some good shit.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. So I'll just talk very
maybe
briefly.
Maybe this is the byproduct of you, what you did with the witches. You know, like letting go with the witches has opened up something.
Yep. I think so. So one of the issues I have with air and fire. I love the fire models. The fire models are incredible. The air models suck, but I don't really want to like tack on one of them on either side. So my thought was that I'll use verticality, and I will put fire behind this with like a arched pillar. So there's negative space in the middle, like a big arch pillar that then has another level up top, so that we've actually got a three-dimensional space.
It might really clash with the fact that your staff and your chair both have their arches going the other way.
Well, I can work with that, right? Because I could make the arch circular.
Okay. Yeah.
That part's yeah. The issue that I'm trying to solve for is that I don't like the models for air, and I need to include them in the diorama somehow, so I sort of want to make them secondary to fire. And I also don't really like the idea of tacking further onto this. I don't want to put another one on the end of this, and it'll be fine, I can. I can tack another one on each side if I want to, but I don't know that I want to, is my point. I think whilst it might be interesting to have one line of these little vignettes together, I don't know.
I think you do the one line because I think you're going to add extra time to the project that's not necessary. And I think you could be trying to make more of this project than you need to. I'm thinking about where this is going to be displayed, and I have a feeling I know where it's going to be displayed. And I think this would, in a line, would add something different that's not been done in that display, and would just offer a nice thing for the person who might want this. You know what I mean? Like I could see this sitting as a runner type display.
Yeah, I mean the line was the idea that I came with to start this in the first place. So I should probably not go away from that. I should just figure out a way to incorporate air and fire on the ends that works. But we'll come to it. We'll come to it at some point, no doubt. All right, friends, we're gonna trundle off now. I'm just gonna take a quick photo before I head off to bed because I'm very tired. Because I've been painting for 3 hours and Bucks has been talking for 3 hours, and that's both of those things are exhausting for me. Bow, bow, bow. Love you, mate. Let's go have a look who is out and about.
I saw Diddy was online. If he's still there, he could be someone we give a raid to. Diddy Miniatures?
Nah, gone. Brush for Hire, actually. Let's go raid Brush for Hire. He's a really lovely dude, and he does this for professionals.
Yeah, he was at Adepticon, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. So we'll give him some love, so that he can continue to make money and hopefully.
Yeah.
Success.
No, thanks everyone for coming along and hanging out with us. Oh, there's Diddy. He's here.
Sorry,
Diddy. We were looking for you.
We were ready to raid on your disc.
Well. We were on our way.
We were coming for you, mate, but you've missed the boat. All right, friends. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful week. See you all on Sunday morning. And you'll hopefully see Bucks back again next week for another episode of Saturation Generation.
Indeed. From Deno and your boy Bucks. Big Bucksy.
Big Deno out.